Aaron Rodgers joined the Pat McAfee Show on Wednesday to let the world know where he wants to play next year.
At this point, as I sit here, I think since Friday, I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
Okay.
And I haven't been holding anything up at this point. It's been compensation that the Packers are trying to get for me and kind of digging their heels in. So I would just... I think it is interesting at this point to step back and look at the whole picture.
Today, the tournament officially begins. The Tennessee Volunteers will tip off at 8:40 tonight against Louisiana. And Vanderbilt advanced to the second round of the NIT and will take on the Michigan Wolverines Saturday morning at 11 a.m. This report is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. I'm Michelle Knezvik for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com.
Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff.
You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Today we are out at Jasper's, out here on West End Avenue, where, of course, we've got the tournament games on. Two buzzer beaters right there at the end. Maryland beats West Virginia. And Furman beats Virginia. And, again, I don't want to get into my bracket because nobody cares about your bracket. But, again, I will say this. Great spot for all of the tournament games. They got tons of TVs. They got great food, great atmosphere, free parking right here on West End Avenue out here at Jasper's. And be sure to enjoy the Shot and a Beer special, a shot of Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey, plus a bottle of domestic beer just for $10. And Jasper's upscale bar fare, oversized bar, TVs, and they got a game room here, or make them the place to catch all the games this year. So come on out to Jasper's tonight and get set for the Preds game as they take on Chicago, and watch the tournament as well. So the Titans actually made an announcement that I was a little surprised right before we came on air. The Titans agreed to a contract with Nick Westbrook-Akine. So they did not tender him a contract yesterday. Paul Kaharski reported that they were trying to keep Westbrook-Akine from hitting the open market, but they weren't going to give him $2.6 million, which is how much a restricted free agent tender would have cost. And so they ended up working out a deal for Westbrook-Akine. So far, here's what they've done on offense. Andre Dillard at left tackle. We'll get to him in a second. They brought back Aaron Brewer for $4 million plus to be the center. Daniel Brunskill, a backup utility versatile guard from the 49ers. He's probably going to start here for the Titans. And now Nick Westbrook-Akine. Now, I am not going to panic. I am not going to yell and scream. I'm not going to do any of that. And I'm not even going to get mad at the Titans because, as I told you all on Monday when a lot of people were getting impatient, I was saying, hey, there's a plan. It's going to take a little bit of time. There are guys that want bigger deals. And so you're just going to have to be patient with those guys. Let those guys get their bigger deals, or let guys, test the market and see, hey, Orlando Brown Jr., there's not $20 million a year out there for you. So you're going to have to take less of a deal. And that once we get a couple of days into free agency, there's going to be guys that'll take $4 and $5 million deals as opposed to multi-year deals because they want to get in before all that cash gets spent ahead of the draft. So there is still time for the Titans to make additions. Now, on defense, I think they're done. I think they've got a solid defense. I still think they'll add in the draft, and I still think they'll add some guys, minimum salary, the Mario Edwards Jr. types. But for the most part, as far as adding in additions, I think the defense is done. I know there's a report out there that they're interested in Denzel Perriman, the linebacker. I don't know why they would be interested in Denzel Perriman, but I think for the most part on defense, I think they're done. But what are they doing to help Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill out? Other than basically telling us over and over again, we like Ryan, we respect Ryan, we're glad we've had Ryan, but we're not going to tell you today that Ryan's going to be our quarterback next year. What have they done for him? We know he's going to be the quarterback. There's no other spot for him to go now. The Raiders have a quarterback. The Jets, who are the team that was linked to wanting Tannehill, they have a quarterback, or at least they will have a quarterback. So there's no spot for Tannehill to go. And at $27 million, when Geno Smith's making $35 and Derek Carr's making $37.5, at $27 million, Ryan Tannehill is incredibly affordable. So he's going to be the quarterback. Derrick Henry, even though they reportedly shopped him at the Combine to see what they could get, my guess is they probably saw that they couldn't get much. Derrick Henry's going to be the running back. What are they doing for Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill? They've got to do something for Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. And that's not just a this year thing. This goes back to last year. And I remember when they traded A.J. Brown, and I said to Caroline, after Harold Landry got hurt, I said, they have lost their number one receiver and their leading sacker. Now, the leading sacker, that's an ACL. That's not their fault. But the number one receiver, Treylon Burks, we knew at training camp he wasn't going to be able to replace A.J. Brown. So what are they going to do to make up for it? And I kept asking everybody. I said, what does this mean? Does this mean somebody's going to step up? Robert Woods, Austin Hooper, Chig Okonkwo. Does it mean that one of those guys is going to step up and take on, the brunt of what A.J. Brown gave you? Or does it just mean more work for Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill? And in reality, it just meant more work for Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill. And I don't think that's totally fair. That's like everybody that blows up the text line and says, if you bring back Tannehill, we're going to go 9-8 again, and we're not going to win in the playoffs, and there's no point in even doing it. And every time I hear that, or every time I see that from your text, I think to myself, well, yeah, if they give Tannehill no offensive line, if they give him no receiver outside of Burks, if they don't bring back their Austin Hooper, if it's just Burks and Chig, and then everything else is the Nick Westbrook, Okina, and the Scarbinis out there, then I don't think that you are going to go 9-8. I don't think you're going to do much of anything because it's all going to be on Henry and Tannehill. So my question for the Titans is, what are you doing to help out Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry? I mean, here's what they've done on offense so far. They went out and they added Andre Dillard, which I like the move for Dillard. I think it's going to be a cost-effective move, which is good, and I do think he can play left tackle. But it's not like he's a bona fide left tackle. Better than Dennis Daly is not the standard, in my opinion. It's a risk. You're taking a guy who, because of Jordan Mailata, was not good enough to start in Philadelphia. That does not mean that he's for sure going to be good enough to start here. So you got kind of a project, a let's see at left tackle. What do you have right now at left guard? Remember, you got rid of Roger Saffold, a Pro Bowl left guard, and you replaced him with Aaron Brewer, a 274, 77, 290, whatever. He's too small to play left guard. Now you have no left guard because Brewer's probably going to play center. You brought it back Brewer at $4 million, and at best, he's probably an average center in the NFL. They brought in a guy, again, who has some experience and is a utility guy from San Francisco and Brunskill, but it's not like he was the starting right guard for the 49ers this year. He was a backup. So they have a backup center. They have a backup now playing right guard. They have a backup playing left tackle. They have Treylon Burks, who was a rookie last year, and I thought even though at times he flashed like that Packer game or that Bengals game, certainly a huge question mark as if Treylon Burks is ever going to make it as a number one receiver in the NFL. They have no number two receiver. They just brought back Nick Westbrook-Akine, who is the definition of a 3 or 4 receiver, though I am glad that he's coming back. Phillips, McMath, that's not good enough. Tight end, one guy, Okonkwo. Now, again, I'm not asking to go out there and do what they did last year, where they spent $3.5 million on Jeff Swaim as soon as they could. But I am asking the Titans to help out Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry. Don't just put it all on them. I don't see other teams doing that. I don't see the Kansas City Chiefs just putting it on Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Even last year when they traded away Tyreek Hill, it's like, okay, we're going to go get Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Okay, we're going to go get Juju Smith-Schuster. I mean, even though those guys are not Tyreek Hill, those are at least guys. Who do you have? I mean, even on your offensive line, you don't have a left guard right now for these guys. Even at tight end, all you have done for Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry, all you have done over the last couple of years is you let go of his Pro Bowl guard, you traded away his number one receiver, and you got him Austin Hooper and Robert Woods. And I like Hooper, but that's it. You got to do more. You got to have more firepower on offense. And I know people will say, well, the draft. But you don't know when you're on the clock at 11. What if the highest player rated in this draft by the Titans is Jalen Carter at Georgia, and he's sitting there with the 11th pick, and the Titans think he's Jeffrey Simmons 2.0? Then what are you going to do? So I'm not mad at the Titans right now. I'm not sitting there and saying that they're not going to do something on offense, because I know the second, the Titans have worked out a trade and they have signed so-and-so and they're going to bring him in and everything else, you're going to be like, now do you feel better about it? Just like I said to all of you yesterday once they started signing Arden Key and some of these other players, like, now are you guys happy about them in free agency adding some players? But Mike Vrabel said this last season when they started the offseason. And it kind of took a life on of its own. And they said that you have to be great around Ryan Tannehill. And I will say this. They haven't done any of that. Now, Mike Vrabel went out of his way, and he said, okay, what I really meant by that was everybody has to catch the ball well, everybody has to throw the ball well, everybody has to do everything well, that they have to do all that stuff. But the truth is, I think he meant we have to get good players around Ryan Tannehill if we want to be successful. They didn't do it. They didn't do it. And so right now I'm sitting here, I'm looking at what they have, and I'm just telling you that's not good enough. Now, they don't need to do like Aaron Rodgers and go get all the guys that he once played with. They don't need to go get everybody, all of Ryan Tannehill's buddies on the team. But they got to go do something. They got to go get something. They cannot just wait to the draft to fix the problems they have on offense. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in here on the program. Again, we are live at Jasper's. Again, come on out tonight before the Preds game. And, of course, they got all the NCAA tournament games on and so much more, 615-737-1025. And then there is one thing that hasn't happened yet that I don't know if it's going to be as explosive as it was last season. But it was a big deal, and nobody saw it coming. We'll get to that next. Stillman & Company, live out of Jasper's, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Your home for MTSU basketball is 94.9 The Fan.
Three ball, yes, sir!
All the big shots and moments live here. MTSU basketball is on a station built for you. 94.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Joe Rexford here for FanDuel Sportsbook, folks. This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets. That's up to $200. That's right. All you got to do is bet $20 on the bracket, and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from moneyline, point spreads. You know that 5 versus 12 matchup. Oh, man, people love the 12s, right? Now, this is all on an app that's safe, secure, super easy to use, and the ease of use is very important to me, folks. Take it from me. There's no better place to bet the tournament than FanDuel Sportsbook. So sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/Joe102 and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you have a gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
It's electric in Smashville. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429 has a new path to a dignified career. Local 429 is accepting applications for the highest skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, your proud seventh man since the beginning. Go Preds.
Golfers teed up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new arrivals from Callaway, featuring the Paradigm Woods and Irons. The Paradigm Woods are engineered with forged carbon to have unparalleled distance and forgiveness. The Irons feature a high-strength forged face for increased launch, speed, and spin. A new paradigm in performance. Swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops. Unmatched expertise, unmatched service.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-587-5063. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-587-5063 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-587-5063 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-587-5063.
We try to stay cool by being on social media.
I'm with it. I'm hip.
Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame and on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville.
Hey!
Oh yeah, and like us on Facebook too. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
If the Titans picked up the phone and they called the Raiders and they said, look, we know you're drafting Will Levis. We know you're going to trade your first this year and your first next year in order to move up from 7 to 3 so that you can take Levis. We want Devontae. What do you think the Raiders would ask for in exchange for Devontae Adams?
First-round pick. I think they want they gave up a first and a second. And they want a first-round pick back for him. It's a tough proposition for them, by the way. If they trade him, that does result in a pretty huge escalation on their salary cap. They don't have a ton of wiggle room. They've already restructured most of the people they can restructure this year.
Cap's fake.
So it's difficult. They don't have a lot of funny money they can figure out a way to move around. So unfortunately, they moved most of the money they can move or they're willing to move. So I don't know that they can get a ton done with that, but you're 1,000% right in everything you said. Also, though, Dan Graziano reported on Get Up when the trade went down for the top overall pick that the Raiders were prepared to make the same offer to the Bears minus the player. They weren't prepared to give up a player of the caliber of DJ Moore to make that deal happen. So that tells you that the Raiders wanted the top pick to take their quarterback, and they wanted to team that quarterback with Devontae Adams.
There you go. That was Fitz yesterday on our program, and he said a first-round pick for Devontae Adams. I would trade you my 2024 first-round pick today. I would have traded it yesterday if that meant that I got Devontae Adams. Now, I don't think Devontae Adams is on the trade block, but I do think it is worth noting. And I do not remember what day it was that Tyreek Hill got traded from Kansas City. I want to say it was around this time last year. I do know that it was Friday afternoon, the Friday of the NCAA tournament, the first and second rounds, just like we have right now, which would be tomorrow, in which Devontae Adams got traded from the Packers, where everybody assumed Devontae Adams was going to be. Devontae Adams got traded from the Packers to the Raiders, and nobody saw it coming. Obviously, A.J. Brown got traded at the draft. So I don't know who is the wide receiver or tight end or offensive player to help out Henry and Tannehill this year that either wants a new contract or is not going to get a new contract from their current team. I mean, we didn't think last week DJ Moore was going to be a Chicago Bear. So we don't know who could be out there that the Titans could get. But when I look at the free agent market, and I don't know how much money the Titans have spent yet because Andre Dillard, we haven't seen the full contract details on that. There's been no contract details other than a 2-year deal for Danny Brunskill. And I want to say that Azeez Al-Shire, it was up to $6 million, which means it's definitely not $6 million. But there's got to be somebody out there who wants a new contract, whose team doesn't want to give them a new contract, who the Titans can get. Or there's got to be a team that has a player on it who doesn't like the coach, who doesn't like the coordinator, who doesn't something, and is going to demand a trade, and then the Titans can find their way into that. Whatever it may be, there's got to be something. Here, I got you, Willie. Is it this one right here? That one? All right, there you go. But there's got to be somebody. There's got to be something out there. Because the free agent market, I do think that I would like them to go get another tight end that's a second tight end behind Chikakonkwo. But, they need another guy. And the draft, to bank on that to say, okay, we'll get our another guy to help out. Burks, who was inconsistent, and Okonkwo, who was inconsistent, and all these offensive linemen that, again, Andre Dillard wasn't a starter. Aaron Brewer is not really a starter. Danny Brunskill was not a starter. We'll get those guys to help them out in the draft. You only have 6 picks. It's tough for me to envision. That without the Titans getting into the trade market, that the offense, even though they've got a better coordinator, and I am thankful that they have a better coordinator than Todd Downing because it can't be worse, you got to do something to help out Henry and Tannehill. And maybe there's a guy out there. Maybe it's Devontae Adams. I don't know what the Raiders' plan is because trading Darren Waller, I didn't think they'd trade him, and they just did. So who is it that's out there that the Titans can go get, that the Titans can trade for, that can come in and be an impact player? Because I always hear this thing, people will say the Titans aren't one player away, and that is probably true. But if you put A.J. Brown back on the Titans, and I don't want to cry over spilt milk, but if you put A.J. Brown back on the Titans right now, then how much better of a football team would you be? And you know the answer. And I know the answer. And that's kind of the frustrating part. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. And our phone lines today are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, live from Jaspers. Texter says in, Alex from Nashville says, do you think Adam Thielen is on the Titans' radar? Adam Thielen is old, guys. I do not get the infatuation with old players. Now, I don't mind an old player at an old player contract or for an old player draft pick. And an old player contract is like 1 year, $2 million. And so I don't know what Adam Thielen's looking for, but Adam Thielen is old. Remember when Andre Johnson came in here and Andre Johnson was battling it out with Tajay Sharp for the 4th receiver job? You know why? Because Andre Johnson was old. I just saw all these people that believe in the salary cap that were saying the Rams trading Jalen Ramsey only happens because of the cap. See, that's why you don't trade away this guy. I'm like, Jalen Ramsey is old, and the Rams don't want to pay him anymore. He's 29 years old. They don't want old players. So, no, when it comes to Adam Thielen, he's old, and I don't want an old player. I want a younger player. Now, a texter texted in and said Jerry Jeudy. Now, here's the problem with that. Number one, Jerry Judy's not that good. I thought when he came out, and I think he was in that draft class with Justin Jefferson, and that draft class with Jalen Reagor, and that draft class with Henry Ruggs, and all those other guys, CeeDee Lamb, I thought that Jerry Jeudy out of Alabama was going to be a freaking stud. I thought he was going to be a stud. And Jerry Jeudy really, he hasn't done anything in the NFL. So when it comes to Jerry Jeudy, that would be like trying to think of a Titan player over the last couple of years, like a Rashaan Evans. I thought Rashaan Evans was going to be a great middle linebacker. He's fine. And that's what it feels like Jerry Jeudy has been. Now, the Broncos are going to want, like, if you call the Broncos today and you say, hey, we'd like Jerry Jeudy, they're going to be like, well, we'd like a first-round pick for 1 year of Jerry Jeudy. I mean, they're even going to have to decide here if they want to pick up the fifth-year option on Jeudy. I think they probably will, but they're going to want like a first or second-round pick, and I'm not doing a first-round pick for 1 year of Jerry Jeudy. And then after that, I have to extend Jerry Jeudy because I just traded a first-round pick for him. And so I think you'd be better off with Cortland Sutton because I think Cortland Sutton's a better player. But again, I think the Broncos are going to ask for the moon because they have no draft picks, so they're going to say, hey, I right now want a number one pick because we need a number one pick, and we think that Jerry Jeudy's worth that, even though they know he's not, and they want to get rid of him because they know he's not. And remember that A.J. went for the 18th pick and a third-rounder. So anytime we talk about a receiver and you talk about the first-round pick, remember, A.J. Brown, a top receiver, a top 10 receiver in the league, top 15 receiver in the league, in his prime, went for the 18th overall pick. So start there. Texter says, what would you suggest the Titans do at wide receiver? Do you want to see a trade considering the offensive line is better off? Right now, my number one thing is actually not as much receiver as it is tight end. I think I would like to see the Titans at a possession-ish tight end. You know, kind of like what Anthony Ferkser was supposed to be. That's what I'd like to see. And I think Hayden Hurst, I forget exactly how much money he got. I want to say he got somewhere around $7 million. Like, that's what I think I'd like to see him get. You know, a $7 million Hayden Hurst-ish tight end that Chigakonkwo can be the big play guy, and that this tight end, and all the tight ends except for Hurst, are apparently still on the market. And I would not be against that. Ryan in Nashville says the Titans should sign Mecole Hardman, Trent Sherfield, or someone fast, then draft Josh Downs or Zay Flowers in the draft. Well, you're picking 11, so you're probably not going to be able to get to Zay Flowers. You know, because Zay Flowers probably goes at the end of the first round. So you'd have to trade down in that case. And I don't like trading down to target a player because you trade down, you move down to 17, you think he'll be there, and then he's not there. And the only way you trade down is if you think he's the 17th best player. When you're picking 11th, you want the 11th best player or even better than that. So I don't like targeting, you know, specific guys later in the first round when there's, you know, no idea. You have no idea if they'll be there if you trade back. The Mecole Hardman thing, wasn't Mecole Hardman hurt last year? And so, again, they can't go with hurt guys. Hurt guys are what got you in this, you know, the Julio Jones. That's what got you in this problem in the first place. He played 8 games last year. He had 25 catches. And you want to give him a lot of money? You can't do it. You cannot sit there and say, hey, we want to work on we want a project. I don't think you can do it. I mean, again, they got some projects. You know, this left tackle's never really started in the NFL at left tackle. They brought back Aaron Brewer for $4 million. And I was telling somebody this the other day. And I was saying when it came to Aaron Brewer, I was sitting there thinking about the fact that everybody's trying to tell me that Aaron Brewer weighs more than he actually probably does. And all I can think about is Floyd. You know, the idea of, well, they tendered him for a second-round pick, which meant $4 million instead of $2.6 million if they just tendered him with the right of first refusal. And, you know, I know that he's 200 pounds. And so, but we think he can play in the NFL for $4 million. And I just think of the fact that he's listed at 274 some places and 295 in other places, which means he's probably, as Taylor Lewan said on the Pat McAfee show a couple months ago, 277. And all I could think of is somebody telling Floyd, hey, your starting center is 277 pounds. And all I can hear is, that's all I can hear. I can hear it in my head. I don't know about you guys, but like I can actually hear that old man chuckle when you say, hey, yeah, they signed a center for $4 million. Oh, who? Aaron Brewer. How much does he weigh? 270 pounds. But that is where they are, and they need some playmakers as well, and I'm not exactly sure where they're going to get them. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. My neighbor just texted me and said, old equals cheap. I mean, old players want more money. I don't want Adam Thielen. You guys like old players. You guys love them. Like the people that are like, should we trade our first-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins? I'm like, the Cardinals would drive. They would get in the car, and they would drive DeAndre Hopkins to Nashville if you were going to give them the 11th overall pick. Nobody does that. 615-737-1025. I got 5 guys on my list. 5 free agents on offense that I think they should consider. We'll get to that next, plus your phones. 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in, 615-737-1025. Again, we are live out at Jasper's on West End Avenue. Again, they got free parking right here. Come on out for the tournament games where they got them on all the TVs. They've got the game room, they've got the bar, and, of course, to hang out before the Preds game tonight, that's Jasper's right here, West End Avenue, Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
1, 2, 3. It's free agency time in the NFL. What big moves will happen around the league? And what will Rand Carthon do to improve the two-tone blue?
We're always open for business. We'll see what comes from it.
Keep it locked to Nashville's best Titans talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
There's never a good time for your furnace to go out, especially in the winter. But it's always a good time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Yes! Hey, Jim, everything okay? Did you see that catch?
No. Yeah, I'm happy about the touchdown. Just things are kind of off with me and Tiffany.
Hey, what's going on?
It's a little embarrassing, but I'm not making it happen in the bedroom. I don't know what's going on with me. And now Tiffany's upset. She thinks I'm not attracted to her anymore.
Hey, I had the same problem. But, man, I found a secret.
Oh, yeah?
I started going to the Tennessee Men's Clinic for treatments, and boom, our sex life improved. Plus, I started taking testosterone, and I've got loads more energy.
Tell me more. Maybe it'll work for me.
The people at Tennessee Men's Clinic are low testosterone and ED specialists with multiple treatment options. It definitely helped me. And I got to tell you, now I can go the distance every time. Heather says I'm better than ever.
Hey, I'm in. What's their contact info?
You can book appointments online or just give them a call.
Great. Thanks, man. Hey, could you move away from the TV? You can't see.
Your first visit to the Tennessee Men's Clinic is only $99. Book your appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or book online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra. Results vary.
Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey Nashville, Chef Phillip at Bar Lines at the Omni Hotel. Come try some of our new menu items like the Nashville Hot Fish and Chips, Nathan's Hot Dog Burn Ends, or the Nashville Chicken Jam Band. Go Preds.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Curation CBD products. Curation began as our family's mission to provide the Nashville community with locally and organically sourced CBD products. We are passionate about providing high-quality CBD products for everyday use. Tinctures, topicals, and pet products too. We are a Pick 10 company. Our hemp is organically grown and produced in Nashville, Tennessee from sustainably sourced non-GMO genetics. All of our products are lab tested. Find all of our products at CurationCompany.com.
Experience the crisp, clean, smooth, and refreshing pure agave flavor of Dulce Vida Tequila. Dulce Vida Tequila is made using only 100% USDA certified organic blue agave that is harvested from Los Altos, Mexico. Dulce Vida Blanco is additive-free and gluten-free. Try it for yourself. 1.5 ounce of Dulce Vida Blanco Tequila, 4 ounces of sparkling water, and a squeeze of lime for a delicious ranch water cocktail that is less than 100 calories. Dulce Vida Tequila, pure and simple.
Join 102.5 The Game live from the Rusty Nail in Hermitage on Friday, March 17th.
And the three is good.
Taking the first round of games during a St. Patrick's Day celebration. Enjoy $3 2-lane beer drafts all month long during the tournament.
Yes! What a shot!
Plus a great local atmosphere with a big back patio and volleyball courts. There's also great drinks and great food, especially the wings. That's Friday, March 17th at the Rusty Nail in Hermitage. Doors open at 10.
Hey Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
I am going to say this for every player. I'm as open to adding great players to our roster
whether that's at quarterback, that's at running back, that's at defensive line, corner. I do believe that we have, we've got some needs and some holes. I've told you that. I've asked them to look for players that have an element of speed, violence, and versatility, and that's what I want to look for, and look for offensive linemen that can protect the quarterback. Whether that's Ryan, whether that's Malik, that's Josh Dobbs, whoever that may end up being. Those are things that we have to do a better job at.
There you go. That was Mike Vrabel at the Combine. And I will say this about Andre Dillard when I watched his tape, that he does protect the quarterback. Now, the violence, he doesn't play with that. The run blocking, the mauling, he doesn't do that. But as far as protecting the quarterback, he does do that. And we'll get to Aaron Brewer in just a second. But I do want to bring this up. I got 5 guys right now as free agency continues on, and the Titans do have holes on offense still, and they still need some playmakers and they need some help. And I've got 5 guys that I've kind of circled, that I've said, okay, these guys, now that the initial wave of free agency is over, the big-time money for the most part is gone, these are 5 guys I'd like to see the Titans just check in on and see if they'd be interested in coming here. The first guy is Austin Hooper. Again, last year the Titans paid him 1 year, $6 million, and I thought Hooper had a good season. His yards per catch, I think, were 10.8 yards per catch. That's what he was doing in Atlanta that earned him that huge contract in Cleveland. Now, in Cleveland, he was like 8 yards per catch. It took the Titans half the season to figure out how to use Austin Hooper. And then by the time they figured out how to use Austin Hooper, their offensive line was so bad and their quarterback was hurt that I really think that they could have gotten a little bit more out of him. He knows Tannehill. He knows the offense. I think they really caught on as the season progressed. And so even though you've got Chigakonkwo there, Chig's not the only person on the team that's going to catch the ball this year. I would like to see Austin Hooper, see what his market is, see how much money he'd like to come back. The second is a guard from Philadelphia by the name of Isaac Suamalo. And the reason I bring him up, now I thought he'd be signed by now. He's a little bit older, and he played 13 games last year dealing with an injury. But when Andre Dillard played left tackle for Philadelphia, what happened was Andre Dillard started 4 games in 2021 because Lane Johnson got hurt. And because Jalen Hurts rolls to the right, they moved Jordan Mailata to right tackle. So Andre Dillard played left tackle, and Seumalo played guard. You've got a deal, like a real deal, if Dillard is your left tackle. If you pay Seumalo a little bit more money, but again, the first wave of free agency is gone, so the $11 million, $12 million for a guard, that's over with. If you can get him in here for $7 million, then you bring some familiarity to Andre Dillard on the left side of the line. And you got a guy who was on the offensive line, a very good offensive line that played in the Super Bowl. And it doesn't look like Philadelphia is going to bring him back. They brought back Jason Kelsey. I don't think they're going to bring him back. And I think the offensive line probably needs some veteran players and some leaders on it. So he's my number 2 guy. Mike Gesicki, the tight end at Miami's number 3. He had a down year this year. He was franchise tag, played with Tannehill in Miami. Marvin Jones Jr. in Jacksonville. He's old, but at $2 or $3 million to be a steady guy to catch the ball, what Robert Woods was supposed to do before Robert Woods dropped the ball, I would keep my eye on him. And then Billy Price out of Arizona. He was a first-round pick by the Bengals. He ended up not making it, not being what they had anticipated. They let him go. Last year, he started 12 games for Arizona. He can play center. He can play guard. He can all these different positions. And again, how much money is that going to cost for a backup center guard swing guy? $2 million? Then again, they're paying Aaron Brewer $4 million. You bring in Billy Price. You can play him at guard. You can have him compete with Brewer. He weighs more than 300 pounds, which is nice. So those are the 5 guys. I'm just keeping my eyes on those 5 guys. Steve is up next here on the program. We're live out at Jasper's on West End. Steve, thank you for calling. What's up, Steve?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I like the little moves they made, but we really going to have to get some depth at the offensive line because if Brewer's there, they're going to attack that every time. And we have to protect Tannehill, and we have to block for Henry. And that way we can get something out of the receiver position if they can hold blocks long enough and pass protection, because we can't defense them to death like last year and then have all our defensive players just fall out, because it's a long season. And, I was just basically chiming in what you said. We need some offensive line depth. We got to protect Henry and Tannehill. And Brewer, I don't know. Appreciate it.
Yep, so we'll get to Brewer in a second, because I did watch some film of him playing center last year. But the one thing I will say about both Brewer and Dillard is when I flipped on the tape and I watched them both play, I saw guys that are solid pass protectors that keep either their guy in front of them or deflect the guy away from the quarterback. In the case of Dillard, it was Frank Clark and it was Micah Parsons that he was doing that to, which make me feel comfortable about him playing left tackle for the Titans this season. With Brewer, it was some of the fatties. Now, the problem with both guys is that I didn't see them, take anybody out, in the run game, like a Taylor Lewan would or a Roger Saffold would, where they would just take a guy out. If they get out on the edge and Derrick Henry's running and the left tackle's got a defensive end and just take them out, the way Jack Conklin used to. I didn't see that from either guy. But you're concerned about pass blocking, and I do think they're concerned about pass blocking too. I think pass blocking is their number one issue right here. And so I would agree with you that I think I would agree with you. I think they would agree with you that pass blocking is important, but I do think that the run blocking will suffer because of it. Donovan texts in and says, go get Corey Davis and Adam Thielen. Ugh. Why do people want Corey Davis? You drafted Corey Davis with the 5th overall pick. By the 3rd game of his 3rd year, it was obvious that a rookie A.J. Brown was a better player than Corey Davis. Why do you want Corey Davis? In the biggest game of his best season, he got hurt and couldn't finish the Ravens game, and you're down a touchdown trying to drive the length of the field with Khalif Raymond and Nick Westbrook-Akina on the field. Why would you want Corey Davis back? Corey Davis has gone to the Jets, and outside of the one game he played against you, he's been hurt. Why would you want Corey Davis? There's a reason you got rid of Corey Davis the first time, and there's a reason why the Jets are getting rid of Corey Davis now. So why would you want Corey Davis? I mean, the idea of veteran leaders, you don't need that. You need a guy that can catch the ball. You need a guy who can play. You need a guy who will be out here. You need one of those guys that can actually, you can rely on. You can't rely on Corey Davis. You learned that the first time. Corey Davis. And stop with the Adam Thielen thing. I mean, Adam Thielen is done. Adam Thielen was never fast, and now he's old. What does old and not fast get you? Nothing. Adam Thielen had 70 catches last year. He's a possession guy on a team that threw the ball almost every play. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Somebody said to me yesterday, Aaron Brewer played center against the Green Bay Packers last year because of some injuries they had. Watch the Packer tape, because you'll see Brewer at center where the Titans are going to pay him $4 million to play this season. So I sat down and I watched the Packer tape. What I saw from Aaron Brewer, what I think it may be as your potential center, we'll get to that next. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Those are my guys. Hiller has been taking care of my home for years, and they can do the exact same for you. That's right. I love Hiller, so much so that every time we get to talking about Hiller, I get excited about it. Hey, guess what? Sometimes replacing equipment in your home can be overlooked until something breaks. But there's actually big problems that can come from old, outdated, vintage HVAC systems. Older systems have higher repair costs, require more maintenance, and result in higher utility bills, and even worse, they can break down when you need them the most. This month during Hiller's Vintage Showdown, they're giving away a free HVAC system to the owner of the oldest unit. It's easy to enter. Just go online to happyhiller.com and submit a picture of your old unit. Plus, everybody wins with trade-in credits and 0% interest financing for up to 48 months on replacements. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Again, my guys take great care of my home. Proud supporters of the Nashville Predators, the Vanderbilt Commodores, and the Tennessee Volunteers. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
We are your home for every big pass.
Kevin Harvick takes over the race lead.
Big wreck.
Trouble turn 2. One car is around and hard into the outside wall.
And big win.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has won the Daytona 500.
Yeah! Woo!
Catch every lap of NASCAR on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Have you seen the selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches they now have at Genesis Diamonds? If not, prepare to be amazed.
If people really know the watch world, they come in and they're in shock. They're like, I cannot believe you have this selection here. They're able to see them, touch them, feel them.
Meet Genesis watch expert Charlie Rivers, who says over the past few years, Genesis buyers have scoured the world to build a collection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes, including all the hard-to-find models.
Daytonas, Pandas, Sky Dwellers, a huge selection of Submariners, Hulks, Kermits, anything that you could ever possibly want. We have every luxury pre-owned Rolex that we have here. We ensure that it's in pristine condition.
So come in today and find the timepiece of your dreams at Genesis. Or if you already own a Rolex and are looking to trade for a different model or even sell it, Genesis can help you get top dollar.
If you have a Rolex, definitely bring it in. I would love to see it and do a complimentary evaluation on it and see what we can do for you.
Genesis Diamonds, now with one of the largest selections of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in America. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game and a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Feeling lucky? Wear some green into the Lodge, and your Twin Peaks girl will bring you a free order of fried pickles. It's St. Patty's Day, and we know you like to party. Valid at participating locations only. Get with your favorite Lodge for more details. Social Furniture's Spring Home Makeover Sales event is going on now with the latest styles and colors in stock, ready for immediate delivery and setup. If you don't need a fancy schmancy showroom or the stress of a high-pressure sales team, but you don't want to pay high-quality prices, come to Social Furniture. All top-quality furniture and mattresses are on sale now. Don't miss this Extreme Home Makeover Sales event that's going on now at Social Furniture.
I shop at Social Furniture because of the way I'm treated.
That's Social Furniture on Charlotte Avenue.
Welcome to Smashville. Join us at Bridgestone Arena for 3 of the best remaining games of the season with the new Nashville Predators Captain's Pack, presented by Jockey. Purchase your 3-game Captain's Pack today at NashvillePredators.com/Captain's Pack to receive 25% off at Jockey.com. $10 in Nash cash for each game, a limited edition digital player card, the opportunity for 2023 Stanley Cup Playoff single game presale, and more. That's NashvillePredators.com/Captain's Pack. Let's go, Preds.
They're insightful.
To me, you got a left guard situation you got to figure out.
Credible.
I trust this guy more than this guy.
But sometimes they just argue.
Why do you like the NFL playoffs? Those teams lose.
I don't want college football to be the NFL.
When they get...
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexrode are Robbie and Rexrode. Weekdays from 6 to 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Joe Gaziano, the first sack of his career.
And Gaziano slips by Aaron Brewer, the right guard, number 55. And I love Brewer as a player. At 6'1", he's too short to play guard. At 295 pounds, he's too small to play guard. He's too small from Texas State to play guard, but he does it. That time he just slipped.
Yeah, but he does it. He's too small to play guard. He's too short to play guard. He's too small to play guard at Texas State. And now he's the $4 million center for the Titans. That was yesterday. They decided to tender him with a second-round pick. And, again, the difference of, I think it's like 2.6 to 4.4, that $2 million difference, how much is $2 million? Maybe it's not the end of the world. But for me, that $2 million, like the fact that it showed that he's going to be the center, I couldn't believe it yesterday. When we were sitting here and that came down the pipe, I could not believe that Aaron Brewer was going to be the starting center of the Titans. Somebody said to me yesterday, hey, watch the Green Bay tape. Because against Green Bay, Ben Jones was out. Aaron Brewer played center. And, he played well at center was what I was told. They said, watch the Green Bay tape. So I decided to be fair. Now, I guess he also started at center in the Bengals game. I wasn't going to watch 2 games. And just watch the Packers game. Not interested in watching nothing. But I did watch the Packer game. And with that, we go into Jared's film room.
You are now entering Jared's film room.
All right, Aaron Brewer versus the Packers. Now, I was able to just literally focus in on Brewer. Now, there were a couple things about this Packer game that I was reminded of. First of all, Treylon Burks was outstanding in it. So was Austin Hooper. And secondly, Ryan Tannehill. And I remember it being 25 degrees, and I was freezing cold, but having the time of my life at Lambeau Field, and the Titans are going down the field to basically put the game away and blow the Packers out, and Tannehill threw the stupidest interception of the season. And I just remembered watching the film. I remembered my feeling in the stands at Green Bay. It's like I can feel it. Just going back to it, just my disappointment and anger with that interception. But I digress. Aaron Brewer. I'll give you, I went through by each drive. I'll give you the summary here. They matched up a bunch of big old fatties on Aaron Brewer. Number 93 to Darryl Slayton is 330 pounds. Number 97, Kenny Clark, was 317 pounds. And number 95, DeAndre Wyatt, was 315 pounds. So all guys that had significant size advantages on Brewer. Now, when you'd watch a play end and you'd see kind of the Titans go back to their huddle and the Packers go back to their huddle, and you'd see Brewer standing next to these 300-pound guys, you would think that Brewer was a linebacker and not a lineman. That's how little he looked compared to those guys. But I thought Brewer did an okay job in pass protection. Even with these big fatties, it wasn't like they just pushed him back into Tannehill every time. I thought he kind of held them up a little bit. He kept the big fatties from getting to the quarterback in pass protection. Run blocking, totally different story. I mean, there were times where a big fat boy would just push Brewer back, and then they would arm tackle Derrick Henry. And the thing that Brewer never really did was he never clears his guy for Henry. He never did in that Packer game at center. There was one time where Derrick got a nice little run where all Brewer has to do is just take his man out. I think it was a linebacker, and Brewer was up in the play, and all he's got to do is just take his man out. And then Derrick Henry can cut it inside and run into the end zone probably for a touchdown. Or it's Derrick versus a safety, and Derrick with a head of steam versus a safety. And he couldn't do it. His guy made the tackle. There was a screen pass Derrick Henry picked up 42 yards on where Aaron Brewer from the center position pulled out, and he almost clotheslined Quay Walker, the linebacker for the Packers. They could have easily, just his hands up around the neck area and the shoulder pads of Walker, they could have easily thrown the flag on that. And because Brewer's small, the one thing that he has to do, especially trying to move these guys laterally, because they are much more horizontal than Brewer is, the one thing that he's got to hold. Like, there were times, now he didn't get called for holding, but there were times where, his big fat guy was coming off of him to go make the tackle, and he'd grab the jersey, and he really likes to grab inside the neck collar. I'm just looking at some of these, they had a combo block, and he didn't get off it fast enough, and Devontae Wyatt tackled Derrick Henry with a gain of 1, and Derrick Henry could have gotten 6 or 7. Now, again, he did a good job pass blocking. He had a nice block on the 4th drive on a counter so that Henry could get to the outside. Excellent pass block. One time, 97, who again was 313 pounds, 97, he was blocking on a pass play. 7, Quay Walker, the linebacker, was blitzing, and he pushed the fat boy 97 into the linebacker, so it was like he took out 2 guys at one time. A great play. But all in all, his run blocking is not very good. And neither was Andre Dillard's when I watched the film on him. So Vrabel says, hey, we want pass blocking, and we want pass blocking on the cheap. But when you do that, in my opinion, you're sacrificing run blocking, and you are leaving it up to Derrick Henry to go out there and be a Superman. And I'm not one of these analytic gurus, and I'm not somebody who's got the metric speeds of what Derrick Henry ran in 2020 and 2021 and everything. But I just think the line was so bad last year that for Derrick to gain the yards Derrick gained, it was almost doubly as hard because there were guys in the backfield on almost every play. And with Brewer at his size and with the size of these defensive linemen, I think that's going to continue to be a problem. Texter into the text line says, is it possible they gave Brewer $4 million to be a swing inside backup? No. You don't give backup offensive linemen $4 million. You give backup. What they did with Westbrook-Akine, who is a backup receiver, what they did with Nick Westbrook-Akine is they decided we're not going to pay him $2.6 million. We're going to pay him about $1 million because we think he's $1 million player. And Westbrook-Akine said, okay, well, let me go see if somebody else will pay me more than $1 million. And his agent probably spent one day, probably called 31 teams. They probably all said, he's $1 million player. And they said, well, you want to go back to the Titans where you're $1 million player? And they said, yes. And he ended up back on the Titans. Texter says, Brewer against DJ Rader from the Bengals would be a good test for Jared's film room now. That is true. And let me say this, DJ Reader, he is a big, old fatty, and he can play. I would love that guy on the Titans. Stick him in there next to Simmons and Autry. Oh, he is a big old fatty. And I'm worried about Brewer with these big old fatties out there. I'm telling you, I am worried about it. So I watched the tape. It wasn't horrendous. That was also the best offensive game they played, but, again, I'm just looking through my notes, here on Brewer. Fifth drive doesn't finish off the linebacker in the second level for Derrick Henry to shoot through a big hole. Could have been a big gain. 42-yard screen pass to Henry easily could have been negated for a hold when Brewer held number 7 trying to get out on the screen pass. So, make of that what you will. Make of that what you will. TD will join us next for the TD Power Hour. What is his reaction so far to what the Titans have done in free agency and what the Titans haven't done in free agency? How surprised was he by the Brewer decision? What's he think of the offensive line? We'll do that next. TD will join us, Stillman and Company. We are live from Jasper's out here on West End Avenue. Again, they got the TVs up, the big giant bar. You can meet Caroline Fenton if you roll into Jasper's right around now. That's Jasper's out here, West End Avenue, Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every day we are live and local.
Most people pick them to make the playoffs before the season even started.
And your source for Nashville sports.
He can still wait for 5 more games before he makes that decision.
We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
What's up, everybody? Michelle Knesvik here for Superbook Sports. And listen, make 2023 the year you beat Vegas. Superbook Sports gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. No fancy computer algorithms, no guys across the pond setting lines for American sports, just the best team of odds makers in the business behind the counter at Superbook in Las Vegas. Plus, check out some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. Download the Superbook Sportsbook app or visit superbook.com to start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
We do screen printing.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do embroidery.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do large format printing.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do promotional goods.
Music City Screen Prints.
We do graphic design.
Music City Screen Prints.
MCScreenprints.com. That's MCScreenprints with an S.com. 615-866-6010.
You think it, we print it.
Your Game Center update.
This is Nick Keiser for your Game Center update. The New York Mets closing pitcher Edwin Diaz is to undergo knee surgery after injuring his patellar tendon during Puerto Rico's celebration, winning 5-2 last night over the Dominican Republic at the World Baseball Classic. Diaz struck out the side to secure the win, but is now expected to miss the 2023 season. And your Nashville Predators are back in action this evening versus the Chicago Blackhawks. Forward Tommy Novak has been surging lately for the Preds, scoring 11 points in his last 10 games. Chris Mason shared his thoughts on the forward.
Tommy Novak right now is, he's blowing me away every single night the way he's playing, but you've always known he has that hockey sense and skill set. It's just putting it all together and the belief in his game, and there's no question he's got that right now.
March Madness is upon us. Today, the Tennessee Vols take on the Louisiana Raging Cajuns at 8:40 this evening, while the Vanderbilt Commodores await their second round NIT matchup against Michigan on Saturday. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Tonight, your Nashville Predators continue their homestand against the Chicago Blackhawks. Coverage begins at 6 on your home for Smashville. WPRT-FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. We are at Jasper's on West End, where they've got all the tournament games rocking and rolling. It is the spot to be for the Predators tonight. Before you go to the Predators game, always come by Jasper's. They got free parking here as well to take great care of you as always. TD is here for the TD Power Hour. What's up, TD?
What's going on, man? If I'd have known you were at Jasper's, I'd have came over there, man, and joined you.
Oh, we got the whole crew over here. Everybody's laughing about something. I don't know what it is, but I just saw Chase McCabe's face, and it was as bright red as the shirt that I have on right now. So I don't know what he's laughing. They're all over their chuckles. TD, let's get started on this. Andre Dillard, Danny Brunskill, Aziz Alshire, Luke Gifford, Arden Key, Aaron Brewer, Tierre Tart, Nick Westbrook, Akine. Your thoughts on what the Titans have done so far. What do you make of it?
Well, there's one key thing that continues to show up in the guys that they brought from outside of the building, and that's opportunity, the lack thereof. And we've talked extensively about Andre Dillard. You know he's a guy that I felt was going to be a fit because of the lack of opportunity there in Philly. I think it was a value deal, right? You're bringing a guy who would come in, be your left tackle, and start there. Obviously, as I told you, you're going to have a little bit of a fall-off run blocking, but he is legit in pass pro, so that's solid. Brunskill, I think, is a really good option for them, just at the very least from a versatility standpoint. he's played literally every position on the offensive line. He started at tackle for San Francisco, started at center. He started at guard, mostly at guard. He has, I believe, over 20 starts at right guard, right? 17 in 2021. So you have that. I think bringing in Azeez Al-Shire, I mean, you saw the look on my face when we talked about David Long not coming back, the disgust, the sadness, not because I'm a fan of the team. I'm a fan of him, and I'm a fan of good football, and it's fun watching him play. But guess what? Al-Shire, if you go back and you watch him, a lot of the similar attributes are there with him as far as being able to come up and make plays against the run, dropping back in coverage, at times, covering two routes, not allowing himself to get high load or anything like that in zone coverage, being able to match up with tight ends. He brings all of that, so that's exciting to see him come in, and he'll probably wear the same number, 51, so maybe watching film will be just the same. We'll see. Then you move on to Arden Key, and you're talking about juice, pure juice coming off the edge. Again, it's opportunity, right? He was stuck behind Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen, two very high draft picks coming off the edge, as edge defenders. But in situations, he maximized them. So that's really good for them. And again, you talk about being stuck behind players. Al-Shire was stuck behind Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner. So it's really all about opportunities. I think that's the main thing for those guys. Obviously, Tier Tart, I think, is a really good value at where they got him. And next year, they're going to have to pay the piper or figure something out because he will be a free agent if they don't agree to some type of extension. So that's something. But, I mean, losing Kevin Strong went to the Cardinals, and we know DeMarcus Walker. Now, that, Jared, that's an underrated loss that the Titans suffered. And I think that deserves a little more attention because he gave them consistent play off the edge, but he also bumped inside as a D tackle, and he played well. And there were times where I saw him make a play, and I was like, oh, good play, Big Jeff. Well, wait a minute. That's DeMarcus Walker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because he would wear the red arm sleeves just like Jeff
exactly,
would. Yeah,
exactly.
I felt the same way.
And the only you would know the difference because after Walker made a play, he would always do that, cross his arms and stand there. So you know, okay, yeah, that's Walker. That's not Jeff. But, I mean, losing him, he's someone, he could put his hand in the dirt in the even front, but the way he brings that juice, that speed to power off of the edge as a stand-up rusher, that's going to help make up for the loss of Bud Dupree. And I think when you look at him and Autry and Tart and Simmons and Landry, you're cooking with a little something up front.
Mm-hmm. I actually think, to your point, I mean, I do think DeMarcus Walker was a good player, and he played the position that I like. I call it sacker. He would get after the quarterback. But I will say that I like the combination of Arden Key, Harold Landry, and Rashad Weaver more than the combination of Bud Dupree when he was on the field, DeMarcus Walker, and Rashad Weaver. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Key brings more juice, but Dupree just brings that brute strength and power off the edge. I think you talk about DeMarcus Walker and you call him sacker. He's someone where you're like, hey, look, just go destroy things. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing you could ask from Key coming off of that edge. I just want you – there's another phrase that you could use that I don't curse, so I won't use it, and we're on the radio, so we definitely won't use it. But there's another phrase that they use for what you want Arden Key to do.
What do you make of the $4 million RFA tender for Aaron Brewer? TD, I know you hate talking about a man's value and saying, well, hey, would anybody have given him more than the $2 million or the $2.6 million for the $4 million? What do you make of the Titans' decision to go with the second-round tender, the added money, and what does that signify for what the Titans view Aaron Brewer as?
Well, to me, it is no different from how they viewed him in the past as the center of the future. I felt that was always the case where they believed he was the guy that was going to shift over to center once Ben Jones retired or wasn't there anymore. The tender it's a higher tender, but I get it. I mean, if you're a starting center at $4 million, I think that's value, right? And if a team were to sign him, they give up that second-round pick. Now you're looking like, okay, John Michael Schmidt maybe.
Oh, yeah, but you know nobody's
I mean?
going to sign Brewer for a second
Right,
round pick.
right. It was very unlikely, very unlikely. So I don't think it was – I probably would have put a first right of refusal tender on him as opposed to that high of a number. But, I mean, it's showing you what they believe he can do.
I was stunned yesterday when I saw that they didn't put the first right of refusal tender on there. The one thing I thought about today, because, I'm trying to come up with theories in my head for why they did it when I just so wouldn't have done it. Do you think that they looked at that $2 million, the difference between the second and the right of first refusal, and they said to themselves, if we pay the $2 million, then no matter what, we do not have to worry about losing him, and then all of a sudden having to go find a center in case somebody did want to give him a contract? Or do you think they looked at it as a status symbol to say, hey, we believe in you, Aaron, so much so that we're going to put the second-round tender on you and not the eeny-meeny tender on you?
I think it was more of, hey, let's just make sure that we have this position set. Mm-hmm. I think that's really what it was. Let's make sure that we have the guy that we want, at least for this year, at that position. That's really, in my opinion, how it went. But at the same time, you look at this draft, TCU has a center guard, Steve Avila, and he's someone that, down at the Senior Bowl, he played well. You could get him a little bit later. He could come in. If you want him to play left guard, he could do that. And then if you decide to move on from Brewer, you could bump him over to center next year. That is an option. And I know, and I said this to you yesterday, I know you like to see, the big fat guys up front.
Love him.
He's a big fat guy, and if you go back and watch TCU versus Texas, they have big fat guys, and he was moving those guys out the way.
I like my lineman fat. I remember Jack Conklin lost some weight a couple years ago. People, hey, did you see Jack Conklin? He looked like he's trimmed down. I'm like, I do not want him to trim down. I want him to hit the donuts. I like my lineman fat. That being said, I do think one thing the Titans are doing, TD, and I want your thoughts on this, I think they are trading run blocking for pass blocking. I'm not sure that that's totally fair to Derrick Henry, but when I put on the tape of both Brewer playing center versus the Packers and Andre Dillard last year in the 4 games that he started at left tackle, I think they are very good finesse pass blockers of keeping their man away from the quarterback, but I do think it will hurt in the run blocking. What is your thought on that trade-off?
No, that's true. They are trading some of that away. But at the same time, when you look at these two players, these finesse players, these athletic players, that's ideal for a zone blocking scheme. So I know you want somebody who's going to take and grab somebody and literally move them out of the way. But in this case, they're doing a lot of blocking spots as opposed to, actual people. So it can be offset some, but you are right. It seems like that's what they're doing because you got two guys who are better in pass pro than run blocking, especially in Dillard's case. So I think we'll see how this thing goes. The left guard, that's going to be one to watch. And I know they met with Osiris Torrance out of Florida. With the signings that they've done, you really don't have to, and you never want to do this anyway, to say, hey, I have to get this position at my first-round pick. Mm-hmm. They put themselves in a position where they could go best player available, literally, and it could be anyone from Jalen Carter to a Devin Witherspoon to a Paris Johnson Jr. If you want to put Quentin Johnston in there, you could. Now, I wouldn't take him at 11, but, I mean, if you want to put him in there, you could put him in the mix. So that's the good part of how they set it up.
TD's with us, 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We will get, as we always do, to your phones at the end of the hour for TD. Now we've gone over the guys they've gone after and already signed. Who's still out there that's a fit? We'll go over that next here with TD. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Let me tell you about FanDuel Sportsbook. That's my official sportsbook app. That's right. I love the FanDuel Sportsbook app. So far, though, it says they want me to give you my picks. You don't want my picks because the NCAA tournament, 4 games have concluded, and I am 1-3 so far in the tournament. and the only one that I got right was Kansas beating Howard. So that's all I got for you. So don't follow my lead there. But this March, take a shot at college hoops with a no-sweat bet on FanDuel Sportsbook. It doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you already have an account, because right now all customers can tip off the tourney with a no-sweat bet. Just sign into your FanDuel Sportsbook account to claim yours today. Or if you're new to FanDuel, go to FanDuel.com/JGM to get in on all the action. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point spreads to the 5 versus 12. It says in the copy, host, tell the audience about some teams or bets you like. Again, 1 in 3 so far through 4. I don't think you want to roll with me on this one. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than on FanDuel Sportsbook. So go to FanDuel.com/JGM to join now or sign into your FanDuel account to claim your no-sweat bet today. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus is $5 unless otherwise specified, and restrictions do apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
185! Every team needs a quarterback. 185! That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown.
Tim.
You can run good plays at the right time.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
You evaluate players, and then you're turning them over to the coaching staff.
Every Tuesday at noon.
At the right time.
With Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace. Tim on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's Quaz with Little Harpeth, and I'm just having one of our Chicken Scratch American Pilsners. It's one refreshing beer and a good example of the German lagers that we craft right here in Nashville. Chicken Scratch is made with locally sourced raw white corn, giving it a subtle cornbready sweetness. And speaking of sweetness, Chicken Scratch's closest associate goes by the name of Deer Crossing Hellas, also a lager with a light crisp body and golden color, and it won us a gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival. So be on the lookout for our craft loggers. And as always, thank you for supporting our little brewery.
Gary Ashton here. People walk up to me all the time and say, don't sell without the intel. This message couldn't be more true. Right now is a fantastic time to buy or sell your home in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. No one has more intel than the Gary Ashton team. So what is this intel we keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without stagings or showings? Intel on where to find your next home so that you can sell your current home while the market is hot? And intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity. For more intel, visit GaryAshton.com, where we can give you the insight and the most up-to-date real estate intel in Nashville. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate team of the Nashville Predators. Get the confidence to sell your home and find the dream address without the stress. Visit us today at GaryAshton.com. That's GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
For one day only, Saturday, March 25th, get 5+ acres and a new cabin package on sale for only $69.9 during the Nashville Acreage Grand Opening Land Sale. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get the best of both worlds. Flat, usable, prime Nashville acreage with the biggest and most spectacular ridgeline views in the entire Nashville area. Priced below market prices. Come explore this recreational paradise and make your dreams of owning exceptional Nashville acreage a reality for less. With 5+ acres and a new cabin package for just $69.9. Best of all, these properties include first-class infrastructure like county water, electric, and county road frontage. All huge advantages in today's market. Appointment times are filling up fast. Call now to book your private tour. 615-437-6348. That's 615-437-6348. Cabin kit package for materials only. Delivered to site by third party. Taxes and delivery not included. Price is subject to change without notice or obligation. Call for complete details. An equal housing opportunity.
Want to weigh in on the conversation? It's a brain booster. Slide into our DMs. Or just text or call at 615-737-1025. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What do you make of what Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel have done to this point in free agency?
Well, I think it's kind of the pattern I would have expected. The 49ers links make sense, and you've got some guys here I wouldn't call them value bins, but I think in Al Shire, in Brunskill, and in Dillard, you've got guys. Brunskill obviously started a lot of games for 2 years, but last year, he only started 2 games, and he's looked at by 49ers people as the ultimate utility guy. Dillard obviously, was never a full-time guy. Al Shire also was, kind of a role player and a special teamer. So these guys, we haven't seen all the contract details. I wish, for God's sake, people would listen and stop saying $29 million for Dillard, but they won't wait to see the contract, and it's going to wind up being cheaper than that on paper. But these 3 guys all have upside.
There you go. That was Paul Kaharski yesterday on Robbie and Rex Road. TD is with us for the TD Power Hour. So we've been over the guys, TD, that the Titans have signed. What about some of the holes they still have on the roster? Right now, left guard, I think it's still a hole they have on the roster, unless they want to put a guy like Jordan Roos at left guard next year. Wide receiver 2 is absolutely a hole they still have on the roster. And even that tight end 2 spot behind Treylon Burks, still holes, and there are still guys out there. One, what do you think about the situation the Titans are in as far as what they still need? And 2, what pops into your mind when you think about how they can fill them before the draft?
Yeah, no, there's definitely needs for some guys in the receiver room. I think when you look at, some of the options, you could bring in a veteran, DJ Shark, Marvin Jones. Now, Jones is a bit long in the tooth at 33 years old, but he's a very polished veteran, and I think he would be ideal working with Treylon Burks. Mac Hollins is a guy of interest to me. I remember him coming out of North Carolina when the Eagles drafted him. I believe it was the 4th round. And he was viewed as a red zone guy, but even in college, he was known for his special teams prowess. And I'll never forget, he caught a long touchdown on Monday Night Football. I want to say it was against Washington. And that's when he really showed, like, that speed that he has and the deep threat ability. Obviously, we saw what happened last year going against
Terrence Mitchell.
Yeah, Mitchell. It was Mitchell. That's what it was.
And in fairness to Mitchell, he was much better than that one game was.
Well, he had just came in that Wednesday. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
I didn't think Mitchell was bad.
No, not at all. Zach Pascal is another one. I wouldn't be opposed to signing him. Now, you're not signing him. Remember, he used to kill the Titans, by the way. Mm-hmm. You're not signing him to be your top-level receiver. I mean, he's a legit wide receiver 3. He could give you slot as well as outside. So there's a few guys still left in there from a bargain perspective. Darius Slayton is another one. Here's a name for you. You want speed? Justin Watson is a impressive receiver out of Kansas City, and he at University of Penn, he was a high-level sprinter in the 100 and the 200. So if you want speed, and it shows, he had a long catch. I think it was a 35-yarder against the Titans this year. But you want speed, he's someone. So I think the receiver position obviously is one to address. You look at the safeties, that's another one where, I mean, I would love for them to be able to bring back a guy like Lonnie Johnson. I know he had the injuries, so he probably wouldn't be brought back. But as far as what you need, like that tweener, corner / safety, he definitely was good. I really liked him coming out of Kentucky, frankly. So that's somebody. You always have safeties available to you. So, Nasir Adderley is one that I thought would have been a good mix. But he had the injuries, and he just retired. So there's options. But I think safety and just that nickel DB-wise, they are probably going to go draft one of those guys. And there's 2 that I think would be ideal for the Titans. One is Riley Moss out of Iowa. I love he's actually – Jared, he's my favorite corner in this draft. I'm not saying he's the best, but he's my favorite corner in this draft because
is he? I don't want to, demean him with this because it's not demeaning. He's the white guy, right?
Yeah, he's a white corner, and it's funny because you put him out there and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna pick on the white corner," but when he runs step by step with basically anybody, and he runs routes for the receiver, and he shows ball skills. I mean, this guy, what was it? Oh, man.
Jason Sehorn?
No. That's a lazy comparison.
For sure.
I watched, I'm trying to remember what game. I want to say Indiana, where he had three interceptions and 2 pick sixes. And he's someone, you go down to the Senior Bowl, he clocked at 19 miles an hour on the GPS tracking. But he's a guy that could bump inside and play nickel as well. But, see, he gives you that nickel that could turn and run with the fast receivers. So that's somebody. And then you got Jamie Robinson out of Florida State, who's just – he reminds me of, you remember, LaMarcus Joyner, like one of those not big guys, but you could send him on blitzes. He'll come up and run support. He could cover. He's a solid player. So those are two I think of. But, I mean, they're going to need to do some things absolutely to fill those two positions. I think they'll need, another – they're going to need a third down type of back, and that's something else. I from what I understand, they are interested – or they've met with Tamir Spears out of Tulane. So that's something else, too.
What do you make of the tight end spot? Chigakonkwo's there. I really want Austin Hooper back, TD. I thought that he and Tannehill really started to vibe there at the end as a possession tight end. I certainly don't think that wide receiver 2 is going to be, an impact player for them at that level. But I'm not sure if they have interest in bringing Austin Hooper back.
Yeah, I don't know what the interest level is in bringing Hooper back, but I think he would be a good option for them. Regardless of what they do, they're going to have to bring in, regardless of whether or not they bring Hooper back, they're going to have to bring in more of an inline guy also, kind of to fill that Jeff Swain role, but more versatility so they're not so predictable with their personnel packages. I think Hooper, though, would be a good option, and you could run a lot of 12 and 13 personnel with Hooper, Chig, and whoever else they bring in tight end wise. Whether if they draft a guy like Darnell Washington or Sam Laporta out of Iowa, there's options, guys that are literally in line that could also catch the football.
Would you bring in a guard so that you've got 5 starters when you approach draft night, or do you think they're going to look to fill left guard in the draft? And I mean, not that I know what kind of money they have or what money this would cost, but Isaac Seumalo of the Eagles played next to Andre Dillard, and he's out there as a potential left guard.
Yeah, Seumalo I remember they drafted him out of Oregon State, and he was someone. He was the 3rd round pick in 2016. They got Carson Wentz that same year. He's a guy that they thought would eventually take over at center for Jason Kelsey, but Jason Kelsey is like, I don't know if you remember the old movie Cocoon, where like the old people got in the pool and all of a sudden they got young again. That's Jason Kelsey, man. Like he doesn't age, so they weren't able to move Seumalo to center, and they eventually slotted him at guard, and he played solid at guard. But I don't know how much they'll be able to invest in him, as the cap continues to. Or as you would say, their budget continues to decrease. I don't know how much they would be positioned to be able to invest in him.
Do we have any idea what these contracts they've signed are worth?
No.
No. I mean, what is the deal? Normally these things come out right away.
Right.
The only one we have any clue on is Arden Key.
Yeah. And it's up to $6 million for Alshire, and not sure. Like the details haven't come out on the Dillard one, and he was the first guy the main one to sign. If I'm not mistaken, the linebacker was first, right, from the Cowboys.
Yes, Gifford. We do know his number. Gifford
yeah.
is like $1 million, but it can go up to $5 million or something like that.
I don't know. I think they're waiting it out. But I tell you what that tells me. Anytime an agent has a deal that looks favorable to them, they make sure it's out there. Whether it's one of these newsbreakers are going to know and put it out there. So that tells me that it's probably not the best deal. But we'll see.
I mean, I think what's crazy about these contracts are they say up to. I mean, I guess if that's the case, we get paid whenever we do one of these, tell you about FanDuel Sport, whatever. So I guess my contract is up to $1 billion, maybe even more than that. Not that I'll make $1 billion this year, but that is, I've never up to. That's my favorite.
Yeah,
up to.
I always despise that up to, because like they'll say you can save up to $100 if you do. Like, come on, man, just tell me what my savings are, man.
Thank you, but you're right. They're probably team-friendly deals if the money hasn't gotten out there.
Exactly.
Which makes me wonder how much money they still have in the kitty.
Yeah.
Which they'll never tell us.
I mean, if you put that, so looking at SpotTrack, they have the projected market value for Isaac Seumalo at 2 years, 24. That's 12.1 per. I'm not doing that for a left guard when this draft is so deep.
Well, and the guard market would tell us that you don't have to do that because Nate Davis got 10.
True that.
So my guess is Seumalo would probably be lucky to get 7.5 right now.
Yeah, and I mean, in real money, it probably something along those lines, because you could always balloon it, right, and make it look extra special, and then actually have, $14 million in guarantees, or you know what I mean, with incentives to push it to whatever. That AAV is always one that you could inflate that and make that look sexier than it actually is.
To your point about agents getting the numbers out, yesterday when Orlando Brown signed, it was like the highest signing bonus ever. We want everybody to know that, because the actual money itself was $16 million a year. Like, it was not an overly impressive deal other than the signing bonus money. To TD's point, the agents want that out there.
Yeah, they want to find some kind of win. Absolutely.
What about the draft? We heard TD talk about a lot of guys, but how could the Titans mentally, how has this week positioned them for the draft? We'll get TD's thoughts on that. We'll do that next. Live from Jasper's out here on West End. Again, we got all the tournament games on in front of us. It's Stillman and Company right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
I think we're taking a step backwards to quickly take a couple of steps forward.
After selling off assets at the trade deadline,
Here is Jankowski.
the Predators continue to fight for a playoff spot.
The Predators still are competitive.
The 2 points.
Yes, need the 2 points.
We are with you every step of the way.
Shot close down by UC Zaros.
Your home for Smashville is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
It's Family Leisure's Factory Direct Sale.
Which factory? From where?
Family Leisure has truckloads of new model merchandise from all their factories arriving daily.
Really? Like what?
Well, spas for one. All the new model spas are here and on sale from Artesian, Catalina, and American Select Spas, as low as $29.99.
Okay.
Family Leisure is getting all their new patio furniture styles. Hanneman, Tropitone, and Woodard are on sale. And there are still a lot of floor models left to sell at ridiculous prices. The guaranteed largest selection and lowest prices in the Mid-South.
Now, that's interesting.
Family Leisure has factory direct pricing on pools. 24-foot pools starting as low as $29.99 installed. And solid wood slate pool tables are only $19.99 as well.
That means the grills, smokers, and grill islands are on sale too.
Of course. Family Leisure even has the huge Diamond Point Play system for only $24.99 installed.
Even the massage chairs, theater seating are on sale.
That's right. That's Family Leisure's factory direct sale going on now.
Both locations, Antioch and Franklin.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and in the past, hair loss was inevitable, but now you have a choice for thicker, fuller hair. Trust the experts with 45 years of experience at Hair Club. They've helped more than 500,000 clients love their hair again. No matter your age, stage of hair loss, or budget, Hair Club can customize a solution for you. And for a limited time, you can get 10% off when you book a free consultation today at hairclub.com/chase. That's hairclub.com/chase.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org. Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey Nashville, it's Chef Phillip at Bar Lines at the Omni Hotel. Come try our new Nashville hot fish and chips. Beer battered black cod served over crispy fries or tots with Omni's own Nashville hot season blend. Served with chipotle slaw and malt vinegar tartar sauce.
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bar Lines in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
The Electronic Express famous half-price fair starts this Sunday. Hurry in and save up to 50% on anything in the store. First come, first serve. The Electronic Express famous half-price fair starts this Sunday at 10 a.m.
Golfers, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new arrivals from TaylorMade, featuring the Stealth 2 Woods and Irons. The new Stealth 2 Woods combines speed and forgiveness to unlock forgiveness, and the new Stealth HD Irons deliver high launch with draw bias to give you the confidence to expect better shots more often. Swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, unmatched expertise, unmatched service.
When you want live and local,
If they were just better at the offensive line.
You could be a contender in the AFC again.
they've had more winning seasons than not. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game has you covered. Looking for some national programming?
Why do I want to get a running back like that 5 more years?
The AFC now is so deep at quarterback.
Check out 94.9 The Fan. Nashville's home for all things sports is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey Nashville, this is Paul Feinbaum and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Is this a team that you think is closer to competing, or are they closer to maybe like retooling? And what would you do if you were the new GM in Tennessee?
Well, I think you got to look certainly at the offensive line is the big issue. And certainly I think about quarterback, we can get to that as well, and what's going to happen there. But the offensive line was the problematic area. Paris Johnson Jr. from Ohio State, talented kid. Certainly he's going to get better with coaching and more experience. I projected him to the Tennessee Titans. But you think about that division, Indianapolis is going to go get a quarterback, right? Jacksonville's got Trevor Lawrence. They're set. So they're in great shape as well. So I think you look at where we are right now with the Tennessee Titans, and the Houston Texans are going to get their quarterback. We know that. So you have a young quarterback in Houston, young quarterback in Indy, and you got Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville. And here's Tennessee sitting there looking at maybe, like I say, the offensive lineman out of Ohio State. So a team right now, we know what Mike Vrabel's done. He's done a phenomenal job coaching this football team. There's areas they need to address, figure out quarterback as well moving forward, but get this offensive line straightened out to the best of their capability so it won't be as problematic as it was this past season.
There you go. That was Mel Kiper Jr., and he had Paris Johnson mocked to the Titans at 11 in his latest mock. Todd McShay's mock draft, which came out last week, had Johnson mocked at 11 to the Titans. TD, they signed a left tackle in Andre Dillard, but it's not like they signed a left tackle for Mike McGlinchey money or Orlando Brown money to play left tackle. So how has what you've seen in free agency affected your draft plans if you are Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel, TD?
Well, I think it puts you in a situation where you don't have to force the pick, right? You don't go in there saying, I have to get a left tackle. I have to get this position or that position. You're situated to where you could allow the board to fall to you, and you pick according to how your ranking is. And I think that's a really good option for them. And I tell you what, one of the things that I thought about is, so the Eagles yesterday, at the beginning of the day, they were going to release Darius Slay. Then towards the end of the day, it turned out they were going to find a way to keep him. Now, when they said that they were going to release him, I said to myself, all right, the Eagles picked 10th. Man, they are absolutely going to take either Devin Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez. Probably Gonzalez because he's the flavor of the month right now. He's bigger. He tested well, ball skills, everything like that. So that could put Devin Witherspoon on the board at 11. Remember, Christian Fulton is in year 4, right? Mm-hmm. Who knows what's going to happen after this year with Christian Fulton. He's someone I would absolutely look to bring back. And remember, their first-round pick.
Repeat offender, though.
Right. So remember their first-round pick from, a couple years ago, Caleb Farley has had his injury situations. And then you look at Roger McCreary. He's been solid. He has some rough spots. But a corner being selected by the team that has the 32nd pass defense, that wouldn't be out of the realm. But see, now you could really look at doing something like that because you have some answers along your offensive line. And that's not to say that Paris Johnson isn't an outstanding prospect. I mean, if he's there, I would absolutely consider it, but you could weigh it differently. And I think that's what they did. They put themselves in a position where you don't come in saying you absolutely have to address this position in the first couple rounds.
TD, does the fact that they signed Arden Key take them out of the pass rusher discussion at 11?
It depends on who's there. I mean,
because don't you really like the Iowa State kid?
Yeah, but not in the first round. I think Will McDonald is a guy you could, at the most, move back for and get in the back end of the first round. But honestly, I think he's someone at pick 41 that you could look at getting. So you got him, Derek Hall out of Auburn. He's someone that Clinton McMillan, the assistant defensive line coach, he worked with him down there at the Senior Bowl, so that's an option. I mean, there are guys out there. I mean, you could go deep to undrafted guys like a Sam Farmer out of Lane, who is a really good player, 6'4", 252 pounds, 4'7". He had 11 sacks this past year. So there's guys that you could go out and get, throughout the draft. I don't know if you look at 11, the top guys that, are absolutely first-round worthy, they'll probably be gone by that time.
Mm-hmm. What about receiver? Because I don't see, a receiver in that 11 range. And if you trade back because you like one receiver, they may not be able to get that. Like if they trade back from 11 to 19, the receiver they like might not be there. And yet I still feel like unless they work out a trade for a guy who ends up being unhappy with his team, I mean, ultimately I think that the Titans' best option opposite Treylon Burks is probably in this draft.
Yeah, I would say that. If you look, so they're at 11. I mean, I figure the Packers will probably look at somebody. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, you could probably move back. If there's somebody that the Lions really, really like and they want to move up to 11, that 18 to 26 range, I think is a place where you could go and you could get a solid receiver. And it's one of those things where you have to move back with the understanding, okay, Zay Flowers may not be there, but Josh Downs, Jordan Addison, these are other guys I think have value in that range. And they'll probably be, you know what I mean? You have to just look at the board that way and just try to predict how it's going to fall.
Now, how many guys can they draft and be comfortable that would be ready to play this season? Because they've only got 6 picks, and, can we really feel like the 6th round pick will be ready to play right now or even be sure that guy's going to make the team?
I mean, I think you can. This scouting staff, they've produced guys who contributed quickly in the 6th round. You look at David Long. I mean, Amani Hooker was a 4th rounder, right? Amani Hooker, yeah. So you have guys that have been able to come in and help out immediately. I think it's just one of those things where at this point you just want to just add playmaking ability. That's whether it's at whatever position. That's what you want to add. And you just kind of let things fall where they may. And I think legitimately a lower draft pick can come in and help. I mean, an undrafted free agent could come in and help. It all depends on the situation that they're put in.
TD's with us. Get your phones in for TD. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, and we're right to him next. Teron Davenport with us for the TD Power Hour. We are live out at Jasper's. Again, out here on West End Avenue, we're watching the tournament. I mean, half of our staff is here, and I feel kind of jealous because they've got the shot and the beers, I think, going on right now. Again, enjoy the shot and a beer special, a shot of Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey plus a bottle of domestic beer for just $10. And I know they're doing that because I see bottles out there. Jasper's upscale bar fare, oversized bar, TVs, and game room make them the place to catch all of the tournament games and to hang out before the Preds games. Come on here just like tonight. That's Jasper's out here on West End Avenue. Stillman & Company, TD Power Hour, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
They can be a fully formed model of what they're going to be offensively moving forward.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
You don't know what's going to happen with the roster or the team.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
This is a good lesson about sports and what we think and what actually happens.
Chad Withrow on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 on the bracket, and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to point spreads to that 5 versus 12 matchup you're eyeing. All in an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/JGM and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long. I love the Duke Blue Devils. I think they are red hot. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days, and restrictions do apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. If you do have a gambling problem, please call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture eats strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. It's that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Divorce forces a father to focus on what's most important, his children. You may no longer be a husband, but you'll always be a dad. In the divorce process, this comes down to 3 key concerns: physical custody, decision-making, as well as financial support. Each of these is important, and it's important that you choose a lawyer that cares as much about these issues as you do.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Nashville area attorneys. 810 Crescent Center Drive, Suite 160, Franklin, Tennessee, 37067. CordellCordell.com.
Hello there. My name is Seychelle, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is the punch of flavors that's unlike any other. You get the crispy tenderness of the chicken and that hint of sourness from the pickles. Ta-da!
Hey, I'm Juan, and what makes the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich original to me is you're going to get chicken that's crispy, golden, and juicy. This is the gold standard of chicken sandwiches.
Order the original Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real customers paid for their testimonials.
Start your day with a cup of Joe. He's gonna think that's stupid.
Wait, what?
Robbie Stanley and Joe Rexroad are Robbie and Rexroad. There, that sounds better.
Thank you so much.
Weekdays from 6 to 9 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
TD Power Hour, Teron Davenport with us. Questions for TD. TD, do you have a thought, or do you want to go to the phones?
To the phones.
Phone lines driven by Wilson County, Hyundai.com, Coy in Clarksville. TD, if you were Rand Carthon, what would your next free agent move be? And would you go best player available in round 1 and 2? Or would you focus on wide receiver in round 2, since there is a large pool of wide receiver in that round?
I would go best player available in rounds 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Always go best player available. But to his point, there are a good amount of receivers that will be there at 41, but there's some that will be there later. You look at Xavier Hutchinson. You look at Tyler Scott, Trey Tucker. I mean, there's a bunch of options that you could go lower with. So that's my thought there. The next free agent to sign, I mean, that's a tough call. I would look at adding. Honestly, I would sign. I would re-sign. I would bring Austin Hooper back and then look receiver.
I'm wondering why the Titans. I mean, I don't know what they're doing behind the scenes, but why they haven't brought Hooper back. But that's neither here nor there. TD, should the Titans consider J.D. McKissick as a complimentary run and catch option? He's so quick and has good hands and runs physically and might be an upgrade over Dontrell Hilliard.
Yeah, because Hilliard's a free agent. I think you could get Dontrell Hilliard for cheap, though, to be honest with you. So
I would like Dontrell Hilliard back.
Yeah, that's the direction I would go. I don't know that he would, McKissick would necessarily be an upgrade. I like Hilliard just as much more of a pass catcher. He's an outstanding route runner, and I mean, you look the way that they used him. I mean, at one point he was their leading receiver touchdown wise.
So Rand Carthon said at the Combine that Haskins needs more carries and more of an opportunity. Would you look at them moving off of Hilliard and moving Haskins into that role?
I mean, Haskins he showed that he could catch the ball. He showed that he could make strides in pass pro. But it's not the same. You know what I mean? I think, that's why a guy like Tajay Spears, I feel, that's why the Tulane receiver, I said Tamir Spears earlier, mixed up his name, but it's Tajay Spears. That's why a guy like him really should appeal to the Titans because of his pass catching ability. And you can motion him out to, out wide and let him run there. Eric Gray from Oklahoma, that's another one. Where these are guys who can run routes like receivers and catch the ball and be a problem in the passing game.
TD, I've been yelling and screaming about this all week, and it drives me crazy. But so I'll let you answer it. This has nothing to do with me. Shane asks, what about Adam Thielen? Would he be a good sign for the Titans?
He would be, at a low cost, he would be a good signing. But I think he's going to command $6 to $7 million.
And when you say low, what do you mean? Like $2 million?
I'm talking about $2-3 million. Yeah, okay, you could bring him in, but he's not the same. And I think like he would be a good fit as a number 2 at the right cost, but he's not the same as he was. And you have to look at the team that he made his mark with. As the season decreased, his targets really, really decreased, and his production did. And now they've moved on with him. So I don't know that I go there at a high cost, to be honest with you.
Especially when Mike Vrabel's talking about needing speed.
Right.
I mean, Adam Thielen was never fast, but now he's definitely not fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Andrew says, TD, who would be your dream non-quarterback prospect to fall to the Titans at 11?
At 11? Honestly, look, man, I listen, I've mentioned his name multiple times. C.J. Stroud would be wonderful to fall to them, but we know that's not going to happen, so I'll deal in more reality. Christian Gonzalez, if the corner out of Iowa, that would be beautiful for the – yeah, I said Iowa. Look, I got Riley Moss on my mind still.
There you go.
My favorite corner, but the best corner – you got 1A and 1B, he and Devin Witherspoon. But Gonzalez is everything a lot of people hoped Caleb Farley would be. Like he's a healthy Caleb Farley, basically. But he's a little more twitchy and a better as far as like actually defending the underneath routes, the double moves and those type of things. So that would be the one. He's the top corner in this draft.
What about Jalen Carter's pro day? Did it scare you?
I mean, to gain the 9 pounds in a couple weeks, that is definitely a cause for concern. But you got to look. I mean, can you imagine the stress that young man is under?
No, he got a lot going on right now.
You know, like your actual freedom is something that you're concerned about. So I would imagine it was tough for him to Look, man, long story short, it doesn't scare me away that much, but I would be willing to pick him knowing what you have in Rand Carthon and his ability to relate to players, what you have in Mike Vrabel and his ability to dial in and get guys. But then you have a veteran mentor in Jeffrey Simmons to bring him along. I think that would be ideal.
I think the number one issue is about the legal stuff. That's the number one thing that's got to get cleared out.
Well, he entered a plea, no contest, and it's 12 months probation.
So then that's done.
That's done.
So then I think the homework about what kind of kid he is, behind the scenes probably is first. Then second, I mean, I am concerned about the pro day, but I'm picking 11th. I'm not picking 3rd. So, if I'm picking 11th and Jalen Carter's there, I might have to take the potential that I could have Jeffrey Simmons and Jeffrey Jr. next to each other for 5 or 6 years. And that might be like having Tim Duncan and David Robinson together. Ryan says, what do you think about Brian Bresee from Clemson at 11?
Yeah, he's another one. He had a little bit of a decrease in production and play last year, but he lost his sister, so that's another one. He went through something. That he came on the scene with Clemson and was immediately a presence, and he's a guy I think would be an outstanding addition. I don't take him at 11 if that's what the texter is asking, but later in the first, he's a good move back option for sure.
Texter asks, TD, how much did Stetson Bennett help his stock at the Combine?
That's an excellent question, and I think Stetson Bennett helped his stock tremendously. He ran well, and that's something that you saw in the title game, and just in that run up to the title game. He showed that he had some athleticism. Now, he couldn't get away from the cops when they got him, but, that's a different story. Just a little joke. But I think he showed the ability to throw the mid-range passing game, too. That's something I saw. And he didn't really get as much of an opportunity to do that at Georgia. He showed touch on his deep passes, too. I think he helped himself a lot. And just the Brock Purdy success helped a guy like Stetson Bennett as well. Helped a guy like Tanner Morgan also, where you have these guys who are uber experienced coming out, and it's like, okay, if the stuff hits the fan and we got to put him in, he probably could do some things for us because of all the playing experience that he has in his career.
Speaking of quarterbacks, Texter says, where do you think the Titans would have to be to get Hendon Hooker?
I would imagine pick 41 is probably the where you start to see him, because if he was healthy, he would. I probably put him. I put him as QB3 if he was healthy. So you get the third best quarterback in the draft, a sit and wait situation, right? Because I wouldn't put him right out there with that knee he's recovering from.
Sure.
Yeah, I think 41, like second round, high second round is where they would probably end up.
TD, I've seen you in the lab every day this week. So that tells me that during draft season, talking with TD must be loaded. What do we have on the show?
Yeah, we're stockpiling a lot of interviews. We got 3 that we're doing today, actually. But for this week's show, I got a guy out of Grambling. Joshua Reed is his name, linebacker. He's very similar to, if you remember, Ramon Foster. Or Reuben Foster. I said Ramon, like the homie Ramon. Reuben Foster out of Alabama, similar type of player. We got him on. We got Tanner Morgan out of Minnesota. Trey Tucker, wide receiver from Cincinnati. He's a guy that, will bring speed to this team if they wanted him. And Tanner Morgan, 41 starts, 33 wins, very experienced. So that's what we got this week.
TD, as always, great stuff. Appreciate you. Appreciate your time. We look forward to catching up soon.
For sure. Appreciate it.
Yep, TD joining us on the program. Let me tell you what would make the Titans' life so much easier. There is one thing out there that if it happens, it's infinitely more important than anything the Titans have done this week. And somebody is predicting it will come to fruition. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company live out at Jasper's. That's right, out here on West End Avenue. We've got all the tournament games on. We are rocking and rolling. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Ever tried to shop for a diamond online?
They all look great on the computer screen, but the fact is, most reputable jewelers like Genesis Diamonds wouldn't touch them with a 10-foot pole.
These are the diamonds that nobody wants to buy. We call them the B-quality diamonds.
That's Genesis owner Boaz Ramon, who says that even diamonds with the same grade and specs on paper can be very different when you see them up close in person, especially the ones from online dealers.
Those diamonds gonna look always cloudy or dirty. It's like you're wearing your glasses and there is fingerprints all over the glass. You just don't understand, or nobody told you that the material that this diamond was cut from was not the best material.
Why risk it? At Genesis Diamonds, they screen thousands of diamonds and only choose the best of the best for maximum brilliance, sparkle, and luster. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
I'm Boaz Ramon, and my accent is always on value.
Hey, Heather, when we ran into you and Mark the other day, you guys looked so happy.
Thanks, Tiffany. We are.
Well, I hate to say it, but Jim and I aren't doing very well lately.
Oh, what's going on?
Well, Jim's always tired. He never wants to do anything. When we try being intimate, he doesn't seem to be into it, at all. I wonder if he's even attracted to me anymore.
Oh my gosh, we had the same problem. I thought Mark was having an affair. Then we went to the Tennessee Men's Clinic and learned he just had a medical condition. The Tennessee Men's Clinic specializes in low testosterone and ED. And after some testing and treatments, our sex life is the best it's been in years.
Oh my goodness, that makes me feel better. Sounds like the Tennessee Men's Clinic is just what Jim needs. How does he get in contact?
It's easy. You can book appointments online or just give them a call.
Your first visit to the Tennessee Men's Clinic is only $99. They have multiple treatment options for low T and ED. Book your appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or book online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra. Results vary.
Sports and leadership go hand in hand. In fact, 94% of women executives were student athletes. Play Like a Girl is creating a more equal playing field for the next generation of women in leadership. You can help too. Become a mentor, donor, or volunteer. Learn more at iplaylikeagirl.org/mentor.
For one day only, Saturday, March 25th, get 5+ acres and a new cabin package on sale for only $69.9 during the Nashville Acreage Grand Opening Land Sale. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get the best of both worlds. Flat, usable, prime Nashville acreage with the biggest and most spectacular ridgeline views in the entire Nashville area. Priced below market prices. Come explore this recreational paradise and make your dreams of owning exceptional Nashville acreage a reality for less. With 5+ acres and a new cabin package for just $69.9. Best of all, these properties include first-class infrastructure like county water, electric, and county road frontage. All huge advantages in today's market. Appointment times are filling up fast. Call now to book your private tour. 615-437-6348. That's 615-437-6348. Cabin kit package for materials only. Delivered to site by third party. Taxes and delivery not included. Prices subject to change without notice or obligation. Call for complete details. An equal housing opportunity.
Your Game Center update.
This is Nick Keyser for your Game Center update. The New York Mets closing pitcher Edwin Diaz is to undergo knee surgery after injuring his patellar tendon during Puerto Rico's celebration, winning 5-2 last night over the Dominican Republic at the World Baseball Classic. Diaz struck out the side to secure the win, but is now expected to miss the 2023 season. And your Nashville Predators are back in action this evening versus the Chicago Blackhawks. Forward Tommy Novak has been surging lately for the Preds, scoring 11 points in his last 10 games. Chris Mason shared his thoughts on the forward.
Tommy Novak right now is, he's blowing me away every single night the way he's playing, but you've always known he has that hockey sense and skill set. It's just putting it all together and the belief in his game, and there's no question he's got that right now.
March Madness is upon us. Today, the Tennessee Vols take on the Louisiana Raging Cajuns at 8:40 this evening, while the Vanderbilt Commodores await their second round NIT matchup against Michigan on Saturday. You're listening to 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
company is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Today we are live at Jasper's out here on West End Avenue. We have the tournament games on right now, and enjoy the shot and a beer special, a shot of Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey, plus a bottle of domestic beer for just $10. Jasper's upscale bar fare, oversized bar, TVs, and game room make them the place to catch all of the games this season. Now, this is free agency, and there are all kinds of guys the Titans could get. And if you told me that the Titans signed, and let's just say, Nick Keiser says, Adam Schefter's reporting the Titans are signing guard Isaac Seumalo from the Philadelphia Eagles, I'd say yes. That's a big one. They need a left guard, and he's a starting left guard, and he was a good starting left guard, and so on and so forth. But I'm not sure that what's left in day 4 of the free agency market is really what's going to put the Titans over the top. I was just reading a story. There's this huge piece about all these teams that are going to be interested in Odell Beckham Jr. You want to know why people are going to be interested in Odell Beckham Jr. if they actually are? Because there's nobody at receiver in this free agent class that can make an impact. And so I told you all on Monday when the Titans weren't jumping out and signing a Mike McGlinchey, or they weren't jumping out immediately and signing an Orlando Brown or something like that. I told you all, I said, look, that's not what's going to be what defines the Titans. What defines the Titans about whether or not they're good this year, which is what I care about, is going to be the play of their core group of guys, and as long as they don't have any massive holes. Last year they didn't have an offensive line. So Ryan Tannehill was affected because of that. So just get a basic offensive line and you should be better. But one of the most important things for this team, it's going to be Treylon Burks. And Trevor Maddich was on our show Tuesday, ESPN College Football Insider, and we asked Trevor about, kind of the receivers and everything else. And here's what he said when asked about Treylon Burks, about what he expects from Burks this year.
Treylon Burks, who I expect, by the way, to have a breakout year this year. I expect Treylon Burks to completely erase the issues that he had last year and come out and act like a first rounder this next year. Now, that's speculation on my part, but that's what I expect.
And I'm not saying Trevor's wrong. In fact, I found it to be very, very comforting when Rand Carthon at the Combine said that Treylon Burks had been working out at the facility. Because remember, Treylon Burks showed up to rookie minicamp and couldn't get through the first day, and Mike Vrabel said, guys like to work out with their trainers and think it's the same as working out here. And it sounds like Treylon Burks is working out at the facility. But if Treylon Burks did have a breakout year, as Trevor is predicting, that would make life on everybody a lot easier. That would make life for Mike Vrabel a lot easier. That would make life for Rand Carthon a lot easier. That would make life for Ryan Tannehill a lot easier. That would make life for Derrick Henry a lot easier. That would make life for your offensive line, which is a collection of guys who were backups for the most part. It would make life for them a lot easier. It would make life for your defense easier. But here's the one reason why I think Burks could have the breakout season. Very few people on the team have the level of talent I think that's required to be an impact player in the NFL. Simmons has that level of talent. Henry has that level of talent. Okonkwo might have that level of talent. Treylon Burks absolutely has that level of talent. And it's like I say when it comes to Anthony Richardson. Just because Anthony Richardson has superstar talent does not mean that he'll be able to travel the road from where he is today to where that superstar potential could take him. And Burks is the same way. But the reason why I think Burks has the potential to break out is last year he had a game in which he didn't carry the team, but he was one of the main reasons that they won. And that was the Green Bay Packers. 8 targets, 11 catches, 8 targets, 7 catches, 111 yards. 16 yards per reception. Big conversions, including one down in the red zone that led to a Titans touchdown. In that game, Treylon Burks averaged about 16 yards a catch. And yes, that was the only game of the season that he went over 100 yards. He averaged 16 yards a catch in that game. But he had 4 other games last year where he actually had better than 16 yards a catch. He had 18 yards a catch against the Giants. He had 17 yards per catch against the Bengals the next week. So he had 16 yards a catch against the Packers, and the next week followed up with 17 yards a catch, and he had 25 yards a catch. It was the one catch for the touchdown in which he basically got decapitated in the end zone and still found a way to hold on to the ball. And so his best game last year, 16 yards per catch, he actually did better than that 4 times. The Dallas game with Josh Dobbs at quarterback, he was better than that. Everybody always tells me, including Floyd, that the most important year in an NFL player's career is the jump between year 1 to year 2. And Treylon Burks last year was trying to figure out how to be a pro. Treylon Burks was playing with the pressure of being the guy to replace A.J. Brown. Treylon Burks was playing through his conditioning early in training camp. He was playing through his asthma during the offseason workouts. He was playing through a turf toe injury. He was playing through a concussion. The thing about Treylon Burks is he's got the talent. He's got the tools. And so while we sit here today and we look at, hey, they need a second tight end, and they do need a second tight end. They need a second wide receiver, and they do. Even if it's a Marvin Jones Jr., who's an old pop-pop right now, or Mac Hollins, a guy who's just really never put it together but been an okay receiver in the NFL. That's all great. The fact that they need a left guard, and they do need a left guard, that's great. And it's great to talk about, hey, would you go after a guy like Billy Price, who's another tweener, like the guys the Titans have put out there so far, or would you pay the money for a legitimate starting left guard? I get it. And I want action too. But the key to this team is the guys that you already have playing better. And in the case of Burks, the talent is there. Now he has to take his game to the next level. He has to become an impact player. Right now, the Titans don't have a second wide receiver. They just re-signed Nick Westbrook-Akine, so he'll be their third receiver. But they don't really have a number one receiver either. We've seen what life is like when you've got a number one receiver, A.J. Brown, and we know what life is like when you don't have a number one receiver, but you have a Corey Davis who is your number one receiver. You have a Rashard Matthews who is your number one receiver. You have a Nate Washington who is your number one receiver. The Titans have only had 2 number one receivers, Derek and A.J. That's it. And so right now, Burks is your number one receiver, but he's not a number one receiver in the NFL. He's got 400 career receiving yards. So he's definitely not a number one. But if Trevor Maddich is right, if Treylon Burks breaks out, and like I said, I think he's got the talent to do it. If Treylon Burks breaks out, the Titans are in business. And everything that I think about this team, and maybe everything that you think about this team, now it's totally different. Now you've got a passing game. Now it opens it up for Derrick Henry. Now life for Tannehill is easier. Now it's better on your defense because you're converting first downs. Now your other pass catchers are going to have less attention. It's good for everybody. So when Trevor said that, I thought to myself, I hope Trevor's right, because that's more important than anything the Titans could do this week. More important if Treylon Burks becomes an impact go-to receiver. The injuries got in the way last year. His conditioning got in the way last year. Todd Downing probably got in the way last year. This year they can't have that. They need it desperately. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We will get to your phones at 615-737-1025. Plus, what about the draft? The signing of Arden Key led Matt Miller at ESPN to write something I think great about the Titans, the situation they may find themselves in. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 615-737-1025, live from Jasper's on West End Avenue, 1025-1063 The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
That fits the mentality of what they're going to do.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
Much more creative in how you go about calling certain plays.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
That doesn't mean that you can't have great or don't need great quarterback play.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. This March, protect yourself against upsets with bracket parlay insurance on FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, all customers can get up to $25 back each day if your parlay of 3 legs or more falls 1 leg short. Me, I really like the fact that I think we're going to get Tennessee and Duke in the second round, so I'm going to take both of them, and I'm going to take Duke with their young centers. I think I'm going to take them on the over in points. That's right. With parlays, you can turn a small bet into a slam dunk. And with cash out, you're calling the shots. You can close out your bet whenever you want before the game is over. Just sign into your FanDuel Sportsbook account or go to FanDuel.com/JGM to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/JGM and make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. 21 and older in present Tennessee. Bonus issue is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $25 per day unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Starting this Sunday, it's the Electronic Express Famous Half Price Fair. Get incredible savings on all 4K TVs, appliances, home audio, computers and tablets, housewares, and more. Save up to 50% in every department. You'll not find a lower price anywhere. We guarantee it. The Famous Half Price Fair. It's first come, first served. Starting this Sunday, 10 a.m. at all Electronic Express locations. And get up to 3 years free financing. The Electronic Express Famous Half Price Fair starts this Sunday at 10 a.m.
Willie Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official 2022 stats are in, and the Pella brand is rated #1 by Nashville homeowners for windows and doors. One reason, Nashville homeowners selected Pella Windows #1 for the highest quality craftsmanship. Another key stat, Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is also rated #1 for the brand that stands behind their product. If you need new doors or windows, the choice is clear. Choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaofNashville.com.
Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments so the first payment is not until summer of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with the set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
What if I told you, in Iran, women are banned from going to soccer games?
Mom, take the ball.
For 43 years, Iranian women have fought back. Police pushed us. Troops. This is their story.
The joy was forbidden.
What is the meaning of that?
That is how they control you.
I'm Shimol Yai. Listen to the new 30 for 30 podcast, Pink Card. Available now.
Want to see our smiling faces? You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live.
We are good to go.
Presented by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Yeah, I am not thrilled at receivers at the top end here. And I'm not thrilled at the Titans taking a receiver at number 11. I mean, there are some guys whose names have been mocked to them. Quentin Johnston out of TCU is one of the ones that's gone, in conversation to them very often. He's 6'3", 208. He's the kind of guy that wins with size. He's outstanding at winning with size. And he's got good separation speed. In other words, he can just turn on that extra gear and stride it out to get open down the field. So all those things are good, but he also showed some inconsistency. He also doesn't catch as many touchdowns at TCU as I thought he might. I mean, Max Duggan, his quarterback, threw 32 touchdown passes last year. Johnston caught 6 of them. Just 6 at 6'3". You would think there'd be more going on there.
There you go. That was Trevor Maddich on our show earlier this week about wide receivers in this draft. After the Titans signed Arden Key, Matt Miller at ESPN, he's one of their draft guys. It's not Mel, he's not Todd, but he's one of them. He wrote what the Arden Key signing means for the 2023 draft. And Matt Miller writes, quote, "The Titans have the look of a team in reload mode, and at number 11 in the first round, there is no shortage of options. Even after signing Key, selecting a pass rusher remains a possibility. The Titans are in true best player available territory with additional needs at offensive tackle, wide receiver, and corner." Let me say this. I agree. And I like the idea, if I'm the Titans, I like the idea of the Titans being able to just go out and get a guy that's the best player there, even if it's a pass rusher, even if it's a quarterback. The only one that I would be a little skeptical of is Bijan Robinson, the running back out of Texas, if he's the best player available at 11 when you've got Derrick Henry because, well, it's a running back. But other than that, I don't care what position it is. Offensive line, wide receiver, linebacker, corner. If the best player's there at 11 and you can't trade back to a position that you want and add some picks, which means add some players, and you think an impact player's there on the board that's going to be a franchise building block, you have to make the pick. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Ellie is up next here on Stillman and Company. Thank you for waiting. What's up, Ellie?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. They are going to take the best player available, and there is no player like Quentin Johnston. When he played against Michigan, he played against cornerbacks that are going to be playing in the NFL. And
what about when he played against Georgia?
When he played against Georgia, Georgia put all their players against him. All year he's been double, triple team. If you look at his tape, he separates on deep balls. They need a deep threat. He's going to make what's his name so much better, Traylon Burks so much better, and open up the team. He's going to be like Romeo Dobbs plus. I mean, he's just big, tall, fast. He's a winner. He's going to be better than Corey Davis. I think he should be the pick if he's available. I think he's the best player available. He's going to do better in the NFL than he did in college.
Okay, so, you brought up, thank you for calling. You brought up Romeo Dobbs. Wasn't Romeo Dobbs a 4th-round pick? That's the thing that scares me is you're saying, oh, this guy, let me tell you, I'm telling you, this guy, he's going to be like Romeo Dobbs. Romeo Dobbs, who's not an impact player and went in the 4th round for the Packers? I'm not interested in that at 11. I'm interested in a player who could make it to the Hall of Fame with the 11th pick. I mean, I'm sorry. You heard Trevor right there say that he does not think Quentin Johnston is worth the 11th overall pick. Apparently, I'm trying to find what his 40 time was to see what his actual speed is. I don't think he's a big-time fast guy. I could be wrong. But I don't think he's I think he's a big guy, and I think he's a get open and catch the ball kind of guy. But I don't think, and now AJ was kind of that way too. But AJ was a 4.49. I don't know what Quentin Johnston's 40 time was or if he did run the 40. And if he didn't run the 40, that is concerning because fast guy, he didn't run the 40. Here's the thing about the 40 at the combine. Fast guys run fast. Slow guys don't run. Quentin Johnston didn't run at the combine. That's one thing I have known for years. And you should always think about this when it comes to picking players in the draft. Dumb guys stay dumb, fat guys stay fat, and injured guys stay injured. And fast guys run fast, and slow guys don't run. And Quentin Johnston didn't run. We're talking about the 11th overall pick in the draft. Again, A.J. Brown went for 18 in a 3rd-round pick. So if he's not as fast as A.J. Brown, if he's not the kind of player of A.J. Brown, I don't want to take him at 11. See, the problem with this receiver class in the draft, in my opinion, is that everybody that's in it has something that you like and something that you don't like. In the case of Quentin Johnston, he's a big physical receiver, but he's not a burner, and he got shut down in some of the big games, as Trevor brought up. A guy like Jalen Hyatt, for instance. Jalen Hyatt is as fast as any receiver in the draft. I know he ran a 4.40, but the fact that 4.4 was disappointing tells you how fast Jalen Hyatt was. But Jalen Hyatt at Tennessee never made any contested catches. If I'm taking a guy at 11, he needs to be able to run past everybody, but he also needs, on 3rd down and 6, to be able to make a contested catch. And I never saw Jalen Hyatt make a contested catch at Tennessee. The best overall receiver that I've seen, and in all seriousness, a lot of it's because we were stupid enough to put a safety on him when Louisville played him, was Zay Flowers at Boston College. But even he has his issues. Size-wise, I think might be something there with Zay Flowers. There's not a slam dunk guy. Jackson Smith and Jigba would have been that guy, but he's got the hamstring injury. And I don't know if you saw how the Titans treated David Long, but if you're injured, they don't want you. And remember, fat guys stay fat, dumb guys stay dumb, injured guys stay injured. Jackson Smith and Jigba had that hamstring injury, and all of a sudden, he didn't play the rest of the season. You can't have that. What if you draft Jackson Smith and Jigba with the 11th pick, and he hurts that hammy first thing when he takes over as your wide receiver 2 next to Burks? And he didn't run at the combine either. And he did every other drill except run the 40. And I was concerned when I saw him not run the 40. I'm like, you had hamstring injuries all year. You opted out of the college football playoff where you lost to the eventual national champions by an inch. And you sat out of that game because you wanted to make sure your hamstring injury was good to go for the draft. Well, now here you are at the combine. Show me your hamstring's okay. And show it to me by running the 40. And he didn't run the 40. So I'm not saying the Titans shouldn't go receiver. I think the Titans should take the best player available. And I am not Mel Kiper Jr., so I don't know who that best player available is going to be. But this idea of, got to go receiver with 11, And you heard Trevor say right there, he doesn't think there's any chance that there's a receiver in this draft who's the 11th best player. Now, they do have to address receiver, and unless they sign Odell Beckham, and I'm not for that, to me, there is not a guy out there who they can sign and feel for sure can line up at that wide receiver number 2 position, which is going to be really important because Chig Okonkwo is going to be your number 1 tight end, but he's not an established number 1 tight end in the NFL. And Treylon Burks is going to be your number 1 wide receiver, but he is not an established wide receiver in this NFL. So what they're going to need to do is they're going to need to draft somebody to go next to him. But again, if you're not the 11th overall pick, I can pick the best player available. And I can expect to have that guy on my team for 10 years. It's not about, he's the 15th best player, but because you do that, the Texans pick 12th. So there's a chance that if you don't pick the best player, Houston, who's 1 pick after you, takes him, and now you have to play him twice a year. So be careful about that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in. So the NCAA tournament is going on as we speak. Alabama is all over Texas A&M Corpus Christi, 96-72. By the way, there's another little nugget about Alabama in the New York Times. The New York Times last night reported that apparently another player was at the scene of that murder. That's neither here nor there. But it is bracket fill-out season. Got some thoughts, but also coming up next, Tennessee plays late tonight. And why it's just not the same. We'll explain. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106 to the game.
Hey, this is Matt Duchene, and this is Smashville.
Running down the left side with Duchene. Duchene scores! Matt Duchene with the overtime winner.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Smashville, experience Predators hockey all season long. 2023-24 season tickets are on sale now. Lock in your seat location before the general public. Score savings up to 45% off box office pricing and enjoy season ticket citizen discounts at concessions and retail. Secure your exclusive benefits at NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/season tickets. Go Preds!
There's nobody on the planet who's as picky when it comes to diamonds as Genesis Diamonds owner Boaz Ramon.
I'm very, very selective on the diamond that I pick.
Indeed, Boaz will look at 2,000 diamonds on the world market and find maybe 2 or 3 that meet his criteria.
What most people don't know, and even jewelers, a diamond has much more than the 4 C's. He has maybe 20 C's.
Like the diamond's luster grade or brilliance level, its feathering, its inclusions, its table, its polish, its symmetry, even the diamond's own DNA or X-ray report, which most jewelers don't even know about.
I refuse to sell diamonds that don't go through our very, very strict criteria.
Which means a Genesis diamond is one she can be proud to wear, with the most sparkle and brilliance and real intrinsic value.
This is my goal, to go all over the world and find only the best hand-selected diamond.
Genesis Diamonds, setting the highest quality standards in the jewelry business. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Finding great people to hire is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. It's pretty difficult, right? Well, ZipRecruiter has mastered finding a needle in a haystack, so they take it to the next level. They make hiring so simple that it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. And that's why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Here's what it's like to use ZipRecruiter. They have so many qualified candidates that it's easier to find the right ones for your roles. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's a lot of needles. So how do they do it? ZipRecruiter's powerful technology sends you candidates who are a great match for your job, and you can even invite your top choices to apply. So if you want less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
For one day only, Saturday, March 25th, get 5+ acres and a new cabin package on sale for only $69.9 during the Nashville Acreage Grand Opening Land Sale. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get the best of both worlds. Flat, usable, prime Nashville acreage with the biggest and most spectacular ridgeline views in the entire Nashville area. Priced below market prices. Come explore this recreational paradise and make your dreams of owning exceptional Nashville acreage a reality for less. With 5+ acres and a new cabin package for just $69.9. Best of all, these properties include first-class infrastructure like county water, electric, and county road frontage. All huge advantages in today's market. Appointment times are filling up fast. Call now to book your private tour. 615-437-6348. That's 615-437-6348. Cabin kit package for materials only. Delivered to site by third party. Taxes and delivery not included. Price is subject to change without notice or obligation. Call for complete details. An equal housing opportunity.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game is live and local.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups.
Robbie and Rex Road 6 to 9.
You are talking about a team that's building a roster.
Chase and Michelle 9 to 11.
He's still under contract.
It's not always X's and O's.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace 11 to 2.
Trades, free agents.
Let's get it going. I think this is a good hire.
And Stillman and Company 2 to 6.
I can give you one of the best coaches in the league.
And don't forget, we're your home for all things Nashville.
He scored!
Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Hey Nashville, this is Penny Hardaway, University of Memphis coach. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Coach, just when you get in these tournaments, a lot of times when the underdog gets rolling, they've hit a lot of threes. Louisiana led the Sun Belt in three-point shooting. How big of a point of emphasis is guarding the three-point line tomorrow?
Well, it's important. I think that when you look at teams this time of year that can shoot the ball, they stress your defense on the perimeter, but they have also got a terrific post player that they play through that they love getting him the ball, and he can move the ball, and he's really has gotten a lot of attention from a lot of different opponents this year. And we're going to have not only just great perimeter defense, but we're going to have great post defense.
There you go. That was Rick Barnes talking about, we got to play in the post and we got to worry about this Scarbini team that we're playing. And I know it's the NCAA tournaments and the Scarbinis win and things like that. But normally this is one of my favorite times a year for me and the Tennessee Volunteers fans. Because every year, Tennessee wins enough games in the regular season that people get so excited about the NCAA tournament. And every year in about February, once football is truly over, Tennessee fans always tell me that this year is different than all the other years with Rick Barnes. And every year, come March, Tennessee wearing white jerseys, which means they're the higher seed, ends up playing somebody that they should beat, and they lose in the most heartbreaking fashion. I remember 2 years ago when I tweeted out at like 7 in the morning that I thought Oregon State was going to beat Tennessee. I tweeted it out, and I hopped into my car. And as soon as I got in the car, I heard Joe and Robbie talking about Jared says that Tennessee's going to lose to Oregon State. Then, to make matters better, I tweeted out that Wayne Tinkle, the coach at Oregon State, is a better coach than Rick Barnes. And Robbie and Joe just went crazy about that, and then Oregon State smoked them. And this is the cycle with Tennessee basketball. Tennessee basketball has a great regular season, does okay in the SEC tournament, although they did not do okay in this SEC tournament. They do okay in the SEC tournament. And Vol fans get excited because they've got a 2, a 3, a 4 seed, and they hope for something good in the NCAA tournament, and then they don't get it, like last year when they lost to Michigan, and then they're upset for about 24 to 36 hours, and then they go back to good season, and they move on to baseball. If Rick Barnes were the football coach, they would hate him. They would be demanding that they get to an Elite Eight this year or something like that. But it's not football, it's basketball. Now, let me say this. Tennessee's going to play a late game tonight, which takes some of the fun out of this because, I don't know, 8:40 p.m., I don't know if I can stay up for this. 8:40 start. Now, the reason why they're playing at 8:40 tonight is because Duke is going to get the primetime game on CBS. Why is Duke getting the primetime game on CBS? Because it's Duke. So when I saw the Tennessee tip time, I knew. I was like, this is why. Because if Duke or Kentucky plays on that first day, CBS always gets, it's not on, they don't put Duke on True TV. CBS gets Duke in prime time. So if they get Duke in prime time, what that means is the game after Duke, which happens to be Tennessee, that game's going to be later. So the number one reason why it's not as much fun to cheer against Tennessee and watch Vol fans and their Rick Barnes misery is because it's a late game, and so not everybody will be up, including maybe even me. The number two reason, though, is because of the Zakai Ziegler injury. We had Chad Withrow on the show last week after they lost to Missouri, and we were talking about the Zakai Ziegler knee injury, and he's like, they don't have anybody that can handle the ball. And if you don't have anybody that can handle the ball, there's no way that you're going to survive in the NCAA tournament. So we saw Ziegler get hurt. They beat Arkansas at home. They're in Orlando. They're not at home. And so you kind of knew. Even if you're a Tennessee fan, you probably knew that this year's team, which was a good team, this year's team's success is probably capped. Now you root for your team, and you should root for your team, but the success is probably capped. So as much fun as it would be tonight if they were it just doesn't exist. The Zakai Ziegler injury robbed us from the Tennessee fans that Jared, I promise this year's different than other years. Jared, I know it. This team, they're so close. They've never been together like they are this year. They're not saying that. Tennessee fans are saying, look, Zakai Ziegler got hurt. What are we going to do about it? And you're right. What are you going to do about it? I don't know. So we are robbed from the excitement of that moment that Rick Barnes lets you down when he sits on that bench as the other team goes on a 9-0 run and he doesn't call timeout, for us to sit there and laugh at you when Tennessee inevitably loses as a higher seed. Now, I think they'll win this game. I know nothing about Louisiana, but I just think they'll win this game. The real fun would be Duke on Saturday. Because, again, when Duke wins, and Duke will win, when Duke wins and they would play on Saturday against Tennessee, that game is going to be in prime time. That's going to be, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock on Saturday, probably on CBS, and it's going to be Duke versus Tennessee. And because Duke is the 5 seed and Tennessee's the 4 seed, Tennessee will be wearing the white uniforms. And when Duke beats them, and I said yesterday with Joe thinks there's a 40% chance Tennessee's going to win that game. I think Joe's crazy. But when Duke beats them, that would have been, if Ziegler were healthy, the perfect time to say, see, Rick Barnes, once again, as a higher seed in March, blows it. And yet, I know that if Duke wins, and I think Duke would be favored in the second round matchup, that I know that when Duke wins, we'll all sit back there and we'll all say, well, Duke should win. Duke has their point guard, Jeremy Roach. He played in the Final Four last year on Coach K's last team. Duke's got 2 freshman bigs that are awesome, Filipowski and Lively. But it would be so much fun if Tennessee had all their firepower, because Tennessee fans would go into this Duke game and they would be like, we're going to beat them, Jared, you watch. And then they would blow it. And I'm bummed out because we're robbed of that. We're robbed of our yearly Rick Barnes referendum. And I'm bummed out. Rick Barnes gets a pass on this year. Even though he blew it last year, even though he blew it the year before, he gets a pass this year. And I'm bummed out. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. By the way, I hate this late start time for Tennessee. Now, the one thing I do like about it, how is Joe Rexrode going to cover a game tomorrow that starts at 8:40 Central Time? That will probably last 2 hours. So you're talking now about 10:40 Central Time. And then Joe will probably spend another 2 hours covering the game, the press conferences, the writing, the columns, everything else. Joe will probably leave the arena at 1:40 local time and have to be up to do his radio show sounding like, it's Robbie, it's guards. I thought the guards played well. I thought they got the ball in there. How is Joe going to be able to do that at 7 o'clock in the morning when he leaves the stadium at 1:40? He's going to leave the stadium at 2 a.m. He's got to be up at 7 o'clock. He's got 5 hours of sleep. Oh, boy. But that is what the basketball Benjamin himself, Joe Rexrode, signed up for. But that is fascinating. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Chuck texts in and goes, it's a Rick Barnes team. Of course they're going to blow it in the tournament. I know, but Rick Barnes is off the hook. It's not the same. If Zakai Ziegler were healthy, it'd be the same. If Zakai Ziegler were healthy and they lost to Louisiana, I would be the happiest guy in the world. And tomorrow at 2 o'clock, I'd be like the guy on Maury Povich when they say he's not the father. I'd be like, I told you, I told you, I told you, I told you. But with the Ziegler injury, even if they lose tonight, it's like, well, their point guard got hurt, and he might have been the heart and soul of that team and everything else. Tom texts in, goes, I love when you use your southern accent to talk about Tennessee fans. Yeah, I need to not do that. Years ago, they had like a focus group or something at the radio station. And this is years ago. And they had a focus group at the radio station. And they said that the Tennessee Southern voice was like something that the focus group, thought was a little demeaning. And I thought it was kind of demeaning too, because not every Tennessee fan talks like that. And even if you talk like that, it doesn't mean anything. But sometimes I can't help myself. Sometimes it's just Jared Duvall's, I tell you, it's like Bert Bertelkamp doing the games. It's like guy from the corner shoots at third, money. Every time it's just inside of me. I probably need to stop doing that. Boy, this person's all worked up in the text line. People are actual adults and know how to function with no sleep. Unlike you, some actually take their jobs serious. By the way, it is seriously that people take their jobs. I take my job pretty seriously. But let me say this. A grumpy Jared does not operate as well as a non-grumpy Jared. And you think it's easy? I mean, here's something that's funny about my job. Now, I was listening to a podcast about, a guy who does sports radio, was talking about doing sports radio. I was listening to the podcast, and they were talking about how people will come up to him and say, you don't talk like that at the kitchen table. Why do you talk like that on the show? And he goes, because it's a show. And I thought about that, and I was like, yeah, like this is a performance. It's hard to perform when you haven't slept. And Joe's not going to sleep before tomorrow's performance. Now, Joe does 3 hours. We do 4. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just saying. 615-737-1025. All right. Some people, the brackets are already filled out. Some people's brackets are already busted. I have something I have to say about the brackets and this particular bracket. We'll get to that next. 615-737-1025, Stillman and Company. Right here, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like the best-selling Toyota Tacoma, with powerful off-road capabilities and the best resale value in its class. Now through April 4th, you can get low 3.99 APR financing on a new 2023 Tacoma, with approved credit through TFS, excludes TRD Pro. And every new Toyota comes with 2 years no-cost maintenance included. Get complete details at buyatoyota.com. Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places.
It's Family Leisure's Factory Direct Sale. Truckloads of new model merchandise from all their factories arriving daily.
Okay.
Spas from Artesia and Catalina and American Select Spas as low as $29.99. All their new patio furniture styles, Hanneman, Tropitone, and Woodard are on sale.
That's interesting.
Family Leisure has factory direct pricing on pools. 24-foot pools starting as low as $29.99 installed.
Grills, smokers, and grill islands are on sale too.
That's right. That's Family Leisure's Factory Direct Sale. Going on now.
Both locations, Antioch and Franklin.
Actor Portrayal.
Hi, I'm Diane, and my husband Jack has low testosterone.
Hi, I'm Jack. I knew something was wrong when I went from feeling energetic and youthful to tired all the time and not sleeping well, putting on belly fat, and my sex drive just dropped.
The fun, active Heartland lifestyle we always enjoyed was disappearing. Then our sex life declined, and eventually we just stopped.
I had to do something, so Diane and I went to the sexual health specialists at Tennessee Men's Clinic. We learned that nearly half of men over 50 suffer from ED and low testosterone.
It was refreshing to hear that one size doesn't fit all. They have a variety of therapies depending on age, medical condition, and lifestyle. He's back to the man I fell in love with.
My energy's back. Our intimacy is better than it's been in years. I can't thank Tennessee Men's Clinic enough.
Your first visit to the Tennessee Men's Clinic is only $99. They have multiple treatment options for low T and ED. Book your appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or book online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects. Treatments extra, results vary.
It's that time of year, the insanity, the madness, the tournament. Your friends showing up at your house to watch the games and eat all your food. You want to be a good host, but you don't want total chaos, and Central Barbecue has the solution. Bulk order some slow-smoked barbecue and pick it up right before tip-off. Stop by either Nashville location or place an order at eatcbq.com. Come by the Hillsboro location between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. March 23rd to see a live broadcast with 102.5 The Game. There will be giveaways and more. Whatever your plans are for this madness, you'll be taken care of at Central Barbecue.
Do you take pride in your work? Do you want to help build Nashville? You need to join Ironworkers Local 492. They build Nashville, working on everything From steel erection on buildings and bridges, plant maintenance, concrete, reinforcing, conveyor work, sheeting, welding, rigging, fence erecting, curtain wall, window wall, and a variety of other specialty work. They provide the best skilled iron workers for contractors and projects in Nashville. If you want to build Nashville, you want to be proud of doing it, visit ironworkers492.org. Join Ironworkers Local 492.
Dr. Rick here. Another sign you're becoming your parents is getting particular about details that don't matter.
The craziest thing happened when we got tacos the other day. Was it Wednesday or Thursday we got tacos? I know it wasn't Tuesday because that's when I went to my hairdresser. Shoot, what day was it?
See how we all lost interest there?
Progressive can't help you from becoming your parents, but we can help you compare rates on home insurance with Home Quote Explorer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
One is smart.
This has just been a constant trend for this team.
One is funny.
That's right.
Funny looking, maybe. Chase and Michelle with Chase McCabe and Michelle Knezovic.
Are you listening?
I'm listening.
Everybody's listening.
Weekdays from 9 to 11. Presented by Hair Club. Hair Club. Love your hair. Live your life. On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Few tips for filling out your bracket. The 16 seed, not a wise choice. UMBC remains the only 16 seed to beat a 1 seed ever, and that's one win in 148 attempts. Historically now, the 11 seed, not a great choice. But since 2010, the 11 seed teams have a 4-game advantage over the 6 seed. And in that 8-9 game, the 9 seed might be the way to go, as the 9 seed currently holds a 4-game lead.
There you go, Greg Gumbel, talking about the bracket, giving you some advice if you have not filled out your bracket yet. If you haven't filled out your bracket yet, you're kind of a cheater. But let me just say this about the bracket. There's something I don't know if we do this every year or not. Part of me thinks we do. I'm not sure. We're live out of Jasper's on West End Avenue. Again, great spot to watch all the games. No, but let me just make sure everybody understands this. Like, if you're driving on your way home from work, I need you to sit down. I need you to think about what I'm about to say. Because sometimes I think people just listen to the radio as background noise. I need you to listen to what I'm about to say. Nobody cares about your bracket. So do not tell anybody about upsets that you had in your bracket. Do not tell anybody about games you got wrong in your bracket. Do not tell anybody if a game's on and I come up to you, Ladarius, and let's say Arizona is playing Princeton, and I say to you, oh, I need this because I've got Arizona in my bracket. Do not tell anybody that, because nobody cares. Now, if you're in a bracket pool and you might win some money, you can talk about it with the people in the bracket pool. That is allowed. But do not, under any circumstances, talk about your bracket to anybody else. Think about your NCAA tournament bracket like your social security number. Do not give that, do not talk about it with anybody else. The difference being that your social security number is to protect you. This I'm trying to do to protect your friends from from having to listen to you and like kind of nod along and like pretend like they give a rat's ass. No. Nobody cares about your bracket. Nobody. Nobody cares about who you got in the Final Four. Nobody cares about who you have winning the championship. Nobody cares about first-round upsets that you picked. Nobody cares about any of it. And let me tell you what's more obnoxious than talking about your bracket today or tomorrow. Talking about your bracket this weekend. And let me tell you what's more obnoxious than that. People that talk about the bracket the second weekend when they're like, oh, wow, I really need Creighton to win this game because I've got Creighton going to the Elite Eight in my bracket. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to hear it. Do not do that. That is my public service announcement about the bracket. Oh, my God. You know what I really hate? And I think some of this is because, like, I'm a sports guy. So people are like, oh, yeah, let's talk sports. Make small talk with the sports guy about sports. I get it. One thing I really hate is I freaking hate it when I'm just like, me and you are just kind of sitting there like waiting on something. And to make small talk, someone's like, so, how's your bracket? I don't know. What, do you want me to be like, So far, I've got 9 out of 13 right. 1, you don't care. 2, I don't really care about my own bracket. Like, instead of making small talk about that, let's talk about something that is somewhat stimulating. So, no, do not talk about your bracket. By the way, I filled out a bracket today at noon, which shows you how much I'll tell you this, and I'm not here to call anybody out. We're all friends. I think it was Michelle. It could have been Joe. It could have been Chase. I can't remember. Somebody sent a text message at like 6 a.m. this week, and they were like, fill out the brackets. Let's have a bracket chat. It's 6 a.m. Nick, did you get that text?
Yes, I did. On vacation.
So you got a 6 a.m. vacation text about filling out a bracket?
Yes, on Mountain Time, too.
Oh, my God. Mel, you got a 5 a.m. text.
I did.
About filling out your bracket on vacation time. And I don't know who sent it. And it's nothing personal. It's just, no. Just trying to help everybody out there with their own friendships in life. Just don't be that guy. Like, don't do it. Now, that being said, my bracket. You ready for this? All right, so here's who I have in the Final Four. You think I'm kidding? I'm really not. So I filled this out today at noon, and I was like, I don't really know anything about basketball. I mean, I worked in the number 1 college basketball market in America in Louisville for a couple of years, and when that was the case, I knew almost everything about basketball. Now, I've worked in basketball, and I understand the actual game and like how it works better than all of you, but as far as like watching these teams, that's for Joe. That is, until football season was over, I was not sitting down to watch basketball. Then after the Super Bowl, I was like, all right, let's watch some basketball. So for me, I've got Alabama going to the Final Four. And it pains me to do that because I think that is the most morally corrupt basketball program I can remember in some time, which is saying something because college basketball itself is morally corrupt. College sports is morally corrupt. We've had college sports for 150 years, and we haven't paid the players until last year. I mean, incredibly morally corrupt, but nobody's more morally corrupt than Bama. And by the way, the New York Times came out, and they, Matt Jones actually called this on our show last week when he said that it was just kind of a sports story, the Alabama murder situation, but that once it got into the tournament, you'd get the New York Times and people involved. Well, the New York Times was in Birmingham. There was a 4th player that was at the scene of that murder. And so they talked to him. He was some walk-on who's never played this year. He respectfully declined to comment on the situation. But I got them in the Final Four. I got Duke in the Final Four. This one was hard. Duke versus Marquette, because I think they're both solid, good teams. And so it was hard for me, but I picked Duke. I'm riding with Duke. Now I feel worse about Duke because I thought the way they stomped Virginia in the ACC championship game at Virginia's game was kind of, wow, that's a big sign. That's telling. Well, Virginia lost to some Scarbini out there today. Furman lost to Furman, so, what do we make of that? I got Texas in the Final Four. And, boy, I hope Texas hires their interim coach who took over after Chris Beard got arrested, Rodney Terry. He was terrible at Fresno State and UTEP, and so they've said there's no way this guy's going to get the job. But if he takes them to the Final Four after beating Kansas in order to win the Big 12, I feel like you got to give the guy the job. So I'm going to go with Texas. And then UCLA because I don't know. I can't have more 1 seeds go. So I'll have Bama, Duke, Texas, and UCLA. Duke beats Bama. Thank goodness. I do not want Bama to win this championship. UCLA beats Texas, and I have UCLA winning the national championship. Now, let me just say this. This will be the last time that I talk about this ever. Like, this is the last. I will not go up to somebody tomorrow and say, well, I got UCLA in my bracket. You will not hear that out of my mouth ever. Just say. And try to keep it to yourself. Just remember, every time you want to talk about your bracket with somebody in public, you want to make small talk about your bracket, think about it like your social security number. Don't do it. You wouldn't make small talk about your social security number. You wouldn't give it to somebody else just to pass the time. Don't talk about what upsets you have in the first round. Nobody cares. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. Here on the program, the Indianapolis Colts have made a very, very, very smart signing. And we'll get to that coming up next. Stillman & Company right here, live from Jasper's out here on West End Avenue. Again, come watch the tournament games, not just today, but tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday and next Thursday and next Friday. And come here before the Preds as well. Enjoy the shot and a beer special. A shot of Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey plus a bottle of domestic beer for just $10. Jasper's upscale bar fare, oversized bar, TVs, and game room make them the place to catch all the games this year. That's Jasper's, where we are right here, Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Time for the Preds Report.
Presented by Newton Nissan.
The Nashville Predators do have an important game against the Winnipeg Jets coming up Saturday afternoon at Bridgestone Arena. But before that, and to make sure that Winnipeg game remains important, they have a meeting tonight with the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks are coming off a big victory over the Boston Bruins on Tuesday night. So let's see if they can keep that going. Predators are 2-0 against the Blackhawks this year, going into their final regular season meeting tonight. The Blackhawks, a far different team than you remember from their 3 Stanley Cups in a 6-year span earlier on. Patrick Kane gone to the New York Rangers. Jonathan Taves is on injured reserve. But we will have the pregame coverage for you tonight beginning at 6 o'clock. Al Gill will join me for the play-by-play. Tonight's game is on ESPN Plus only. This is Pete Weber reporting.
The choice is yours, Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to jarrettfire.com. JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
Do you have a VA loan? In this housing market, homeowners with VA loans have access to a ton of instant cash. Hey, Willie Donick here. Do you need cash to pay off credit cards and other high-interest loans? How does a check for 80 or 90 grand sound right now? Loan Pronto is helping veterans every day get the money they need with a quick and easy zero-cost cash-out refi with zero closing costs. With a VA loan, it's really cool because you can access up to 100% of your home's value. That's 100%. Use that money to pay off credit cards, home equity lines, car loans. Consolidate all your payments into one check per month and close in 2 weeks. Most homeowners who do this end up cutting their overall monthly payments by $800. And Loan Pronto's all-digital process makes it fast and easy. They're doing loans with super low APRs, and they love working with veterans. Call now. See what your options are. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hey, it's Jared for Hiller. Sometimes replacing equipment in your home can be overlooked until something breaks, but there's actually big problems that can come from outdated old vintage HVAC systems. Older systems require more maintenance and results in higher utility bills. This month during Hiller's Vintage Showdown, they're giving away a free HVAC system to the owner of the oldest unit. It's easy to enter. Just go online to happyhiller.com and submit a picture of your old unit. Everybody wins with a trade-in credit and 0% interest financing for up to 48 months on replacement. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
O'Reilly. Need new wiper blades but not sure which ones are right for you? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. We'll show you options for your vehicle and even install your new wiper blades for free. Right now, save $10 per pair on Bosch Focus wiper blades so you can see better in any weather. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Your Game Center update.
This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Nick Keyser. The New York Mets closing pitcher Edwin Diaz is to undergo knee surgery after injuring his patellar tendon during Puerto Rico's celebration last night, winning 5-2 over the Dominican Republic at the World Baseball Classic. Diaz struck out the side to secure the win, but is now expected to miss the 2023 season. And your Nashville Predators are back in action this evening against the Chicago Blackhawks. Forward Tommy Novak has been surging lately for the Preds, leading the team with 11 points in his last 10 games. Chris Mason shared his thoughts on the forward.
Tommy Novak right now is
he's blowing me away every single night the way he's playing, but you've always known he has that hockey sense and skill set. It's just putting it all together and the belief in his game, and there's no question he's got that right now.
And March Madness is upon us. The Tennessee Vols are set to take on the Louisiana Raging Cajuns at 8:40 this evening, while the Vanderbilt Commodores await their second-round NIT matchup against Michigan on Saturday. This update is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. I'm Nick Kieser for 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit theGameNashville.com. Tonight, your Nashville Predators continue their homestand against the Chicago Blackhawks. Coverage begins at 6 on your home for Smashville. WPRT FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
He had a competent coaching staff. You just play terrible and you keep playing.
And we have strong opinions.
What a whiny freaking crybaby response.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to Superbook Sports, live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. We are live at Jasper's out here on West End Avenue. Normally on a game day, we're at Bridgestone Arena with the Predators taking on the Blackhawks tonight. But we are here at Jasper's for rounds 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 of the NCAA tournament. That's right. Come on out to Jasper's and enjoy yourself. There is some news out of the NFL, and it's news I hate. The Indianapolis Colts are signing quarterback Gardner Minshew, reported by Tom Pelissero, NFL Network, and they did not mention the money. Now, when they don't mention the money, that tells you it's not a lot of money. But let me say this. If you're a Titan fan and you hear that the Colts signed Gardner Minshew, I think your initial reaction would be, ha, 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 the Colts, Gardner Minshew, he'll be their backup. Ha, 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 ha. Let me say this. That move scares me. The Colts have a new coach in Shane Steichen. And Shane Steichen, even though Chris Ballard is the general manager, Shane Steichen's in charge. He's the guy who is going to have the final say. Because if they don't win this year, and they might not win this year, but if they don't win this year, Jim Irsay is probably going to fire Chris Ballard. Because, it's been 10 years, it's been 5 years, it's been however long it's been, and we haven't won anything. And they know that. So it's Shane Steichen's show. And it's Shane Steichen's plan. And Shane Steichen is an offensive coach from the Eagles. Now, I don't know anything about Shane Steichen, like the guy or what kind of coach he is or anything like that. I know he was the offensive coordinator of the Eagles and he called the plays last year for Jalen Hurts. But I have said for weeks that the Indianapolis Colts should sign Gardner Minshew. And this is why I think their signing of Gardner Minshew today puts them on the same wavelength as me, which could be very scary. The Colts will get a quarterback in this year's draft, and they may not have to move off of 4 in order to get the guy that they want. C.J. Stroud will go number 1, most likely to the Panthers. Bryce Young will go number 2. The question then is, does Arizona take a quarterback at 3, or does Arizona move out of the 3rd pick, somebody like the Raiders or the Falcons or somebody else move up into 3 to get a quarterback, and then the Colts pick at 4? The Colts will be on the clock, and either Will Levis or Anthony Richardson will be there. Why are Will Levis and Anthony Richardson considered potential NFL quarterbacks? And not just potential quarterbacks, but potential high first-round choices because of the tangibles. They have the tangibles. Everybody always talks about the intangibles, but they have the tangibles. They have the size. They have the speed. They have the arm strength. They have the athleticism. They have the projectable bodies. They have all the things that you need from a physical standpoint in an elite quarterback. Anthony Richardson is off the charts. After Anthony Richardson had his combine workout, I said, look, he has superstar potential. And people, well, but Jared, he wasn't that good at Florida, and they didn't win. Right, I know. I didn't say he's a superstar right now. I said he's got superstar potential. There is a long road between where he is today and superstar potential. So here's what I said should happen. Indianapolis is sitting at 4. We figured at the time that the 4th best quarterback in this class was Anthony Richardson. I said, and I told this to an NFL coach. I said, if I'm Indianapolis, I am signing Gardner Minshew, which they just did. I am signing Gardner Minshew to a contract. I am then going to use the 4th pick on Anthony Richardson. I am then going to draft another receiver, and I'm going to sign a tight end. Now, all these tight ends are still out there. The one I said I would sign is Dalton Schultz from the Cowboys, and he's still out there. I would sign Dalton Schultz, and I would draft a receiver. And so now I've got Gardner Minshew at quarterback, Jonathan Taylor at running back, Michael Pittman at one receiver, Dalton Schultz at tight end, and another receiver in the draft. And I've got Anthony Richardson on the bench. If any team drafts Anthony Richardson and starts him right away, that coach should be fired. Anthony Richardson should be on the bench this year, and I think there's a chance Anthony Richardson should be on the bench next year. Well, if you're going to do that, if you're going to sit him on the bench, you have to know there's a pretty good chance you're not going to win. If Gardner Minshew's your starting quarterback, there's a chance you're not going to win. But what I would do is I would put in the Jalen Hurts offense that they had in Philadelphia, which Shane Steichen coached last year. Gardner Minshew knows it. And I would set up Anthony Richardson with Jonathan Taylor, with Michael Pittman, with Dalton Schultz, with a receiver that I draft to run the Jalen Hurts offense. Quick throws, open guys, right away. No reading, no standing in the pocket. And now he'll do it now with AJ, but no chucking it deep down the field. And I would turn around and I would hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor 25 times a game. And I would do that this year with Gardner Minshew, and I would do that next year with Anthony Richardson. And I would do what the Eagles did. Jonathan Taylor is Miles Sanders. Michael Pittman is Devontae Smith. The guy I drafted in the first round is A.J. Brown. Dalton Schultz is Dallas Goedert. And that's my team. And Anthony Richardson has more potential and talent than Jalen Hurts does. And I'm not knocking Jalen. But Jalen is limited. And they are getting the best out of Jalen with that offense and those players. I'm going to do the same thing for Anthony Richardson. And I'm going to sit him on the bench. And having Gardner Minshew, who already knows the playbook, is going to be invaluable for either Richardson or Levis. So for years, I used to get so frustrated, and I still get frustrated with Frank Reich in Carolina now when I hear these people on TV say, Frank Reich, he's a quarterback guru. This guy, he's a great offensive coach. When I would watch Frank Reich go out and do stupid thing after stupid thing after stupid thing. And I'd see Frank Reich go out there and say, yeah, we don't want to be a team that just hands the ball up the middle to Jonathan Taylor. Why the hell not? He's a great player. Give him the ball. I'd watch Frank Reich come in here and coach like a moron. And I kept telling you guys, hope he doesn't get fired. Root for him to not get fired, because the second he gets fired, all of a sudden Indianapolis, and I thought it was going to be Reich and Ballard has been screwing things up for a while. And I said, if they fire both of those guys, there is a chance that the Indianapolis Colts go from bozo at coach to a good coach. And this signing of Gardner Minshew and how I see it lining up with the quarterback that they're going to draft it for, either Levis or Richardson, makes me feel like they may be transitioning out of the bozo phase. I remember when Larry Bowa was the manager of the Phillies. You know, he was a Phillies shortstop through and through. He was their third base coach when they went to the World Series in '93. He was Mr. Philly. And they made him the manager. And he was a bozo. And as an Atlanta Brave fan in the same division as the Phillies, I loved it. And I remember thinking to myself, please don't ever, whatever you do, please do not fire Larry Bowa. And the Braves kept winning and winning and winning and winning, and finally they fired Larry Bowa. They hired Charlie Manuel, and he ended up winning the World Series with the Phillies. I remember when Jim Mora Sr. was the coach of the Colts. You remember? Playoffs? We're talking about the playoffs. It was embarrassing watching him coach Peyton Manning. Then they hired Tony Dungy. And when they hired Tony Dungy, I knew ultimately with Dungy's defense, with Peyton's offense, I knew that you were going to be in some trouble. And you were. And I'm not saying that Shane Steichen is all of a sudden going to come in and be Bill Walsh. I'm not saying Shane Steichen is the genius behind the operation in Philadelphia. I'm not saying that even if they do exactly what I say they should, sign Gardner Minshew, which they did, sign a tight end, draft a receiver, draft Anthony Richardson, develop Anthony Richardson, that Richardson's going to be that superstar that he's got the potential to be, because I don't know what's inside Richardson's head. But I just know that for years I would watch the Colts make moves with Chris Ballard, and I would think, what? Why do that? I remember the day they traded for Carson Wentz. It was the day that I had my first Zoom conversation with Caroline Fenton, a digital director, or I forget what her title was at ESPN. The first time I met Caroline, and it was the morning that the Colts traded for Carson Wentz, and I remember just screaming, yes, yes, when they traded for Wentz. And everybody was telling me, oh, no, Frank Reich, he got the best out of him in Philadelphia. Frank Reich, he's going to make it like it was 5 years ago. He's going to get the 2017 Carson Wentz. And I was like, sure. I never worried about it. And I remember celebrating when Jacksonville hired Urban Meyer to be their coach, because I knew he was going to ruin Trevor Lawrence. And if he had gotten a second year with Lawrence, I think he would have ruined Trevor Lawrence. But then when they fired Urban Meyer, I thought, oh, no. Don't get a coach in here who has a clue. And with the Colts and the moron convention they've had running that thing, the Bozo Show, I have felt so good about that operation. They just made the first move I can remember the Colts making in a while that I have said, wow, that is a smart move by the Colts. They know they're going to get Levis or Richardson. They know they're going to put Levis or Richardson on the bench. They know they should put Levis or Richardson on the bench. And the only guy who can screw it up is Jim Irsay. If Jim Irsay says, I want that guy to go out and play quarterback right now, that would be best case scenario. But I don't know if Jim Irsay is going to screw this up or not. Or if the plan that I laid out is the same plan Shane Steichen laid out to him, and now they're running it. Boy, that move I don't like, because it's a smart move. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We will get to your phones on this, and I am worried now, not this season about the Colts, but I am worried in general about the Colts and whether or not they actually might be smart. 615-737-1025 here on Stillman and Company. I told you all, don't ever talk about your brackets, because deep down inside, nobody cares. But FanDuel Sportsbook is the place to go to bet the picks that you had in your bracket. That's right. And don't follow my bracket, because my bracket's terrible. And so you don't want to follow with me. You want to do your own thing. This March, take your first shot at college hoops with FanDuel Sportsbook and get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets up to $200. That's right. Just bet $20 on the bracket and you'll land $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend betting everything from the money line to point spreads to a 5 versus 12. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. There's no better place to bet the tournament than with FanDuel Sportsbook. And again, that's my official sportsbook app. Sign up today by going to FanDuel.com/JGM and make every moment more with FanDuel all tournament long. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $10 deposit required. Refund issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
The winner is... Listen all this week to Chase and Michelle for your chance to win 4-day passes to the Bourbon and Beyond Festival.
It's really gearing up here, Chase.
I'm excited.
Oh, yeah!
It's the world's largest bourbon and music festival, coming September 14th through the 17th in Louisville, Kentucky.
Makes you want to dance.
Yeah, I love it.
I like to move to it.
Listen all this week for your chance to win on Chase and Michelle.
I am listening.
From 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Starting this Sunday, it's the Electronic Express Famous Half Price Fair. Get incredible savings on all 4K TVs, appliances, home audio, computers and tablets, housewares, and more. Save up to 50% in every department. You'll not find a lower price anywhere. We guarantee it. The Famous Half Price Fair. It's first come, first serve. Starting this Sunday, 10 a.m. at all Electronic Express locations. And get up to 3 years free financing. The Electronic Express Famous Half Price Fair starts this Sunday at 10 a.m.
It's Quaz with Little Harpeth, and I'm just having one of our Chicken Scratch American Pilsners. It's one refreshing beer and a good example of the German lagers that we craft right here in Nashville. Chicken Scratch is made with locally sourced raw white corn, giving it a subtle cornbready sweetness. And speaking of sweetness, Chicken Scratch's closest associate goes by the name of Deer Crossing Hellas, also a lager with a light crisp body and golden color, and it won us a gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival. So be on the lookout for our craft lagers. And as always, thank you for supporting our little brewery.
For one day only, Saturday, March 25th, get 5+ acres and a new cabin package on sale for only $69.9 during the Nashville Acreage Grand Opening Land Sale. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get the best of both worlds. Flat, usable, prime Nashville acreage with the biggest and most spectacular ridgeline views in the entire Nashville area. Priced below market prices. Come explore this recreational paradise and make your dreams of owning exceptional Nashville acreage a reality for less. With 5+ acres and a new cabin package for just $69.9. Best of all, these properties include first-class infrastructure like county water, electric, and county road frontage. All huge advantages in today's market. Appointment times are filling up fast. Call now to book your private tour. 615-437-6348. That's 615-437-6348. Cabin kit package for materials only. Delivered to site by third party. Taxes and delivery not included. Price is subject to change without notice or obligation. Call for complete details. An equal housing opportunity.
Businesses don't run on automation or algorithms alone. What powers businesses are your people and the people they serve. At Cintas, your dedicated service reps understand what you need to help you keep your employees feeling safe, comfortable, and performing their best. So your business can too. For workwear, essential cleaning products, first aid and safety supplies, and fire protection services, visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Anyone want to tell me what happened?
Did you miss any of today's show?
It's okay. It's fine. Don't worry.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on Apple, Spotify, and other podcast platforms, or by going to thegamenashville.com.
All right, I'll give it a shot.
Strong opinions and a strong personality on your drive home. This is Stillman and Company, presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It depends on the coach's job security.
There you go.
That's an honest answer.
That's a great answer.
Because you take a guy, let's say the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the Jets are a lot better football team. Their head coach doesn't have much time to go ahead and make a name for himself. So drafting a guy is not the answer for the Jets
right now.
They took a guy second and third. Whereas Indy, you just got there. You got a long contract. You're an offensive guy. You're known for developing quarterbacks. There's no doubt the answer there.
Yeah.
That answer is you go ahead and draft one, and then you develop them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so if people think that job security has nothing to do with who you want,
good point.
They're full of crap.
Coach Charlie Weiss talking about, hey, Indianapolis, you're a quarterback guru. You're a quarterback developer. You just got there. You got plenty of time. You can draft the guy with the 4th overall pick. And again, I think we all know Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, in some combination, they're going 1-2. And Indy knows they can't get to 1 or 2. Indy, when Chicago had the number 1 pick, Indy knew that they could get from 4 to 1 if they really wanted to. Now, what that would have cost them, I don't know. And you saw what Carolina gave up, and it was an arm and a leg. So Indy knew if they really, truly wanted one of these guys, they could get up from 4 to 1. Now they know they can't get younger Stroud. Those guys are gone. I saw a report that came out that said Frank Reich loves Anthony Richardson. I'm like, you do not draft Anthony Richardson number 1 overall when Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, guys that are ready to step under center and put their hands in that guy's butt and say hike today, are ready to go. You do not do that. And they don't have, I know they signed Andy Dalton. And maybe they do love Andy Dalton, or maybe they do love Anthony Richardson, so they'll have Andy Dalton quarterback it. But I don't think so. So I think they're going to go C.J. Stroud at number 1. Then I think Bryce Young goes at 2. I think the whole time the Texans have thought to themselves, we're going to take whoever doesn't go at number 1. And they probably have them graded similarly. I'm sure they probably like one guy more than another. But I think they probably say, you know what, we can win with Stroud, we can win with Young, so whatever happens, we'll take the other guy. Kind of like when the Titans drafted Mariota. You know, if Tampa Bay goes Mariota, we'll go Winston. If Tampa Bay goes Winston, we'll go Mariota. Number 3 is either going to be Levis, Richardson, or Arizona takes a defensive player. And Indianapolis is going to be there at 4. Now, I think Richardson probably goes at 3. So this would throw off my whole plan of signing Gardner Minshew to develop Anthony Richardson. But the one thing I want everybody to take note of, I know a lot of guys think the combine is silly. I know that a lot of people think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. They're wearing shorts and a T-shirt. There's no pass rush in the throwing. There's no defense in the receiving. Who cares how fast a guy runs a 40-yard dash? And let me answer this question for you. I care. Those things matter in the NFL. And when Anthony Richardson sets records for vertical jump and broad jump, and when he throws a deep ball with ease, just a flick of a wrist, just a pew right out of his arm, and like a missile coming out of his arm. When you watch some of those throws he made against Florida State last year, he completed 9 balls and had 3 touchdowns last year. I watched him play Vanderbilt because a lot of people say, well, he didn't beat Vandy. He had 400 yards. And the reason they lost to Vanderbilt was because they had a guy try to field a punt at the 7-yard line. It fell out of his hands, and the Vandy guy fell on it in the end zone for a touchdown. That's why they lost. Now, he was terrible in the Kentucky game. He was terrible in the South Florida game because Coach Shoop had a great game plan. And he's a ways away. But don't tell me, whatever you do not tell me that he doesn't have the talent. Now, what's in between the ears? I don't know. I've never met the kid. I've never talked to the kid. I'm not even sure I've ever heard the kid talk. So I have no idea what's up here. And what's up here matters. But at the same time, don't tell me he doesn't have the physical talent. He's got the talent. And Gardner Minshew is the perfect guy to start at quarterback for a year or 2 as Anthony Richardson learns that playbook that Jalen Hurts ran with Philadelphia. Remember, Jalen didn't start right away. Carson Wentz did. And then Jalen came in at the end of the year. Then after Jalen came in at the end of the year, the next season they wanted to keep Carson Wentz. They didn't. Jalen started. They made the playoffs. Jalen, okay, we'll see. Year 3 is when Jalen Hurts took off. It takes time at that position in this league unless your name's Joe Burrow or Peyton Manning. And even those guys struggled as rookies. So I see this move by the Colts, and I think, man, what a good move to sign Gardner Minshew. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Ben from Cumberland says, as a Colts fan, I dig it, Jared. I know. Now, let's say this about the Colts, though. And we have not heard from Indy Ben in a while. I do wonder where Indy Ben is. As we actually say good things about the Colts, and for years, Indy Ben has, gotten mad at us when we've talked about how Frank Reich and Chris Ballard was a clown show, and it was. But I remember John Smoltz saying during a World Series broadcast, you never want to do something that makes the other team happy. Like, you never want to walk a guy and the other team think, oh, yes, great. You never want to bunt a guy when the other team is like, good, I'm glad they're bunting and giving us the out. Well, let me say this. As a Titan fan, I hate this Gardner Minshew move. Hate it. Because I think it's the right thing to do. And it's been a while since Indy has done the right thing to do. It's been a while. The Matt Ryan trade, that was actually not a bad trade. The offense they tried to run for Matt Ryan, the way they benched him, the things that they did around him, the no receivers, the no tight ends, that was bad. And it looks like they got a coach who at least has an idea of what he's doing. Texter asks, what's the difference between Malik and Richardson, honestly? Richardson is 6'4", and Richardson, literally, like Malik throws the ball like 6 seconds too late. Malik's not even that fast. Like, you all saw Malik running. Anthony Richardson ran a 4.40. Think about this. Anthony Richardson is 20 pounds heavier than Vince Young and is faster than Vince Young was. And talent, just total top-to-bottom talent. Anthony Richardson is closer, in my opinion. Anthony Richardson is closer to Cam Newton or Vince Young or Josh Allen than Malik Willis is. Malik Willis is just kind of athletic, and he can throw it. He's got a rocket, but he can't read as far as the defense is concerned. He doesn't know when to run, and he's not accurate at all. Now, I didn't watch Malik's college tape. Like, I've seen some games that Richardson's played, and maybe it's bad. But Malik Willis didn't go to the combine and run a 4.40. I mean, that is a gazelle. That is Jalen Hyatt speed at quarterback. Malik doesn't have that. 615-737-1025. Nick, are you in this text chain right now?
Maybe.
What is the one thing we've preached about the NCAA tournament bracket?
Don't talk about it.
Why?
No one cares.
Am I right or wrong?
I am with you.
Okay. Would you like to read this text chain that we are a part of?
Why not?
Just go ahead and read it, Nick.
All right, let's see. Mine isn't, but I did pick them to make the Elite Eight.
No. Start at the top at 5:23 p.m.
Willie is a candidate to finish last. Worst possible start.
Oh, no. Oh, no, Willie. Oh, Willie, and I love him, but Willie, no. No. Texting, I have my candidate to finish last. This is the worst start. Willie, no, don't talk about it. All right, what's next, Nick?
And then our very own The Suit goes, dude, bracket is busted.
Oh, no, Chase. No. Oh, no. And then what was next?
Just when I think you've said the stupidest thing ever, you keep talking.
And then our very own Derek Mason goes, mine isn't, but I did pick them to make the Elite Eight.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, violating the rules. You can't do that. You can't talk about your bracket. You can't do it. It's going to happen. You're going to have the need. You picked a bracket. You filled it out. You have the need to go up to somebody and say, hey, my bracket. No, nobody cares. Treat your bracket like your Social Security number. Don't tell anybody. Keep it to yourself. Isn't that what we really need in life? Self-validation or self-anger, not external validation. Oh, no, guys. And I still love you.
Willie.
I still love you, and I mean it. Oh, no. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Hal Gill will join us coming up. The Predators, big one. Hey, if the Predators win today, and they should, because Chicago stinks, if they win tonight, then they play Winnipeg on Saturday. They win that at home. I mean, this team might actually make the playoffs, which I thought, a week ago would have been a pipe dream, which is unbelievable. And unlike Vandy in the NCAA tournament, where Vanderbilt, we didn't actually know, what the target was, we know how you make the playoffs in the NHL. 615-737-1025. Hal Gill joins us next. Stillman and Company live from Jaspers on West End Avenue, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
I think it's a really good move.
TD, it's never the offseason for ESPN's Teron Davenport.
I mean, that's something you obviously have to look at.
He's always talking about what's next for the Tennessee Titans.
Quarterback is a really important thing that they have to get determined.
Check out TD, Mondays at 1, Thursdays at 3, and Friday mornings at 8:30. Plus, the Talkin' with TD podcast.
Looking forward to that.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormonal deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve your quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
If you compare a diamond from Genesis Diamonds to one you find somewhere else, one thing will always stand out. The Genesis diamond is, well, prettier and more brilliant.
We will show you why our diamond's light performance is significantly greater than things you can get elsewhere.
Genesis Diamonds Vice President David Cooper.
Not just because of the color and the clarity, but because of things a certificate can't tell you. Because of the characteristics, the personality, the material.
It's the extra step in quality control that comes from an owner obsessed with perfection.
Our owner is incredibly picky when he buys diamonds, searching through hundreds just to get a handful. You will not see diamonds that have the fire at your average mall store or chain store or smaller independent because they don't have the access worldwide like Genesis Diamonds does. Our diamonds' light performance, character, and explosive brilliance is bar none the best your money can buy.
Don't compromise with a diamond that just looks good on paper. Get a diamond that reflects your love in the best light possible.
This diamond has to be spectacular.
Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
What if you could be credit card debt-free in 10 days and save as much as $1,000 a month? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. Hey, Willie Donick here. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low monthly payment. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days. And a $50,000 loan would only cost you around $400 a month. Use that money to pay off high-interest credit cards or do a home improvement. You can access up to 90% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need an appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Stop the madness and say no to 24% interest fees. Call Loan Pronto today. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. Being arrested doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. Being served with custody paperwork doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. It may feel that way, but if you have Amanda J. Gentry representing you, you can feel confident that you're going to have the best quality representation in all of Middle Tennessee. Amanda J. Gentry goes wherever justice demands. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics at TriStar Hendersonville Medical Clinic offers world-class orthopedic care. The doctors at this location specialize in hand, knee, shoulder, hip, foot, ankle, and spine, and general orthopedics. They accept walk-in and same-day appointments. Get back to enjoying life. Schedule your appointment online at tn.houston.com or just walk in to Houston Clinic Orthopedics at TriStar Hendersonville Medical Clinic. When experience matters, trust Houston Clinic Orthopedics.
Join 102.5 The Game live from the Rusty Nail in Hermitage on Friday, March 17th.
And the three is good.
Taking the first round of games during a St. Patrick's Day celebration. Enjoy $3 two-lane beer drafts all month long during the tournament.
Yes! What a shot!
Plus a great local atmosphere with a big back patio and volleyball courts. There's also great drinks and great food, especially the wings. That's Friday, March 17th at the Rusty Nail in Hermitage. Doors open at 10.
Hey Nashville, I'm Gary Smith, head coach of Nashville SC. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Stillman & Company's live out at Jasper's out here on West End Avenue. Again, enjoy the tournament and enjoy the shot and a beer special, a shot of Nelson's Greenbrier Tennessee whiskey plus a bottle of domestic beer for just $10. Saw the Bud Light girls around here somewhere. Jasper's upscale bar fare, oversized bar, TVs, and game room make them the place to catch all of the games this year. Of course, we got a big tournament in front of us. Arkansas hanging on for dear life. I hope they win just because I'm kind of an Arkansas fan. But more importantly, the Predators play tonight against the Chicago Blackhawks. And let me say this. Jaspers is the perfect spot to come down before the Preds and then, right here on West End Avenue. But I'm not going to lie to you all. I was having a hard time watching my hockey team there for a bit because earlier in the year when I knew they weren't very good and they would win, it was like as soon as they would win every day, it was, see, Jared, they're going to make the playoffs now. See? And I was like, oh, no. And I was afraid what was going to happen like last year and the year before that where the team's not very good, but they somehow make the playoffs and they get beat in the first round. And then everybody tells me, oh, everything's fine. It'll be okay. I figured that was going to happen again. But then when David Poile decided to sell off, and all of a sudden they got rid of that Granlund contract and they got all those picks for Tanner Jeannot, and they just kind of said like, hey, we're probably not going to make the playoffs. I thought, oh, thank God they woke up and they smelled the coffee. And now I can enjoy watching them play. Because before they would win and I'd get mad, and then they would lose and I would get mad because I don't want to watch my team lose. And so now I'm kind of enjoying watching them play. If they win tonight against Chicago and Chicago sucks, and then they play Winnipeg on Saturday and they beat Winnipeg, this team might make the playoffs, which I am here for. Hal Gill joins us now in the program. Hal, your thoughts? I mean, Hal, I'm not going to sit here and say today that I think the team's going to make the playoffs, but I am kind of excited, and I think if they win tonight and they win Saturday, I think we can really talk about the playoffs. Your thoughts?
Yeah, let's talk about it, but there's a lot of work to be done. The exciting part is I think you got all these young kids that are playing lights out, and they're going to be playing in meaningful games. And you said it, Winnipeg is, Fred's got Chicago tonight, 4 points back of Winnipeg. Winnipeg is playing the Bruins. And the Bruins just got beat by Chicago, so Bruins are going to be upset. Hopefully the Preds can win. Now you're 2 points back going into a game that means a lot with the Jets on Saturday. So I think this is this moment in time is really kind of a fun moment. And then afterwards, it's still, like I said, there's a lot of hockey that has to be played, but it's going to be fun. I'm excited about it.
You know what's crazy, Hal, is that, and I don't want this to sound rude, but I do feel like this is the exact same.
You never sound rude, Jared.
Never.
You never.
My dad, every time he sees you on TV, my dad every time tells me that he doesn't understand why you come on this program, which I love. But I don't want to sound rude here. They traded away a bunch of players, and I feel like I'm watching the same team. Now I think it's probably they're a little faster because they're younger, and I think maybe they make a little bit more mistake. They're a little bit more mistake prone, but it's probably a little bit more exciting. But, I mean, if Saros plays great and they can poke 2 or 3 in there, I mean, they got a shot to win, and he's going to give them a chance. And if the goalie doesn't play great, they're going to lose. And call me crazy, did they really lose all that much when they traded away all these players?
Well, it doesn't look like they have. There's certain things that they've lost. Obviously, with Ekholm, Groundland, Niederreiter, you have great players and all tested and tried and true, and you know what to expect from those guys. But you're bringing in an unknown factor, and guys are stepping up. Well, you said it. If you have Saros and you have Roman Josi, you have a chance to win every game. You can win. You can go into a game knowing you have a chance to win. So I think those guys are stepping up, but it's also the young guys that are looking at this opportunity and they're playing with that excitement. Now it's going to come down to the big games. Can they do this? Because I feel like the Preds for a long time have had expectation hanging over them, and right now there's no outside expectation. It's just them going out and playing the game, and there's pressure. They want to try to prove themselves and they want to get into the playoffs, but it's a different kind of pressure. It's not a weight; it's an excitement, and I think that's, as a player, I think in that locker room, everything it means a lot that you have the excitement without the weight, and I think that's the way they're playing right now. Because the top 2 lines are fast, they're shifty, they're quick, they're playing inspired hockey, and they're getting big goals when they need them. And then the bottom six, they're still doing their thing. The base line is still going out and doing their job and killing penalties. And, there's some big bodies on the fourth line. So it's a pretty good mix right now, and they're playing for each other and kind of they're putting all those things together, the size and the speed, and they're getting results.
You know what's crazy is Hal Gill's with us. The way the goalie is playing and the way they're winning these games, it reminds me of when you played on the Predators and Barry Trotz was the coach. And I used to feel like, hey, if Joel Ward can poke one in there, this team has a chance to win with the great defense and the excellent goaltending that the team had back at the time. Now, this team doesn't have that level of defense, especially with the injuries right now. But I do feel like it's a similar style. And I do wonder, given the fact that the Predators are never going to be bad enough to pick high in the first round and get that impact big boy forward, is this the way that we should anticipate this team being built, where they do have young forwards that can score, but no elite big-time forward, but they're going to win this game in their own zone?
Yeah, well, I don't know. The way Tommy Novak is playing, he looks like a blue chip right now. It looks like he came out of nowhere, and he's playing amazing.
Easy.
Yeah, I know. You're always looking for the big guys, but defensively, you're missing. You have McDonough out of the lineup, and Carrier. You're bringing in. You already lost Ekholm, of course, and you have guys that are stepping up. I thought Gravel and Foote had good games, solid games, and so I think that ultimately it's the structure. It's the way that the team is playing together. I don't know if it's a sum of the parts or what it is, but they're finding ways to get results with a depleted lineup, and I think that's kind of what you're getting at, right? Is that those Trotsy games, like, hey, let's lock it down defensively and see how it goes. Now the challenge is going to be when the big boys come in. You're going to have to go play the Boston Bruins, New York Rangers, Buffalo Sabres. That's going to be a different challenge, and I'm excited to see how they wind up against them. But right now, playing against a Detroit team that's a good team, good young team. They're not playoff bound, and they got some building to do, but they looked really strong against them, and they played that style of game.
So you would know that I am not, Hal Gill's with us, I have not been the biggest or most vocal supporter of the head coach, John Hines. But, I mean, if this team trades away all these players and they end up making the playoffs, Barry Trotz said that he is open to observing what's going on when asked about the coaching situation, which I think Barry was telling the truth. Like, I think Barry is, if Barry watches John Hines and evaluates him and thinks he's not a good coach or he can go get a better coach, he will. But if Barry also thinks that Hines ends up doing a good job, then I guess there's a chance Barry could keep him. Do you think that the way they finish up this season should play a role on how Barry approaches the coaching situation at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think everything. I'm looking at being on that road trip, and Barry Trotz is on the trip, and every time I turn around, he's having a conversation with someone in the lobby. He's around the rink. He's watching practices. He's talking to the coaches. He is taking it all in, and anyone who knows Barry Trotz knows he's one of the hardest workers you'll ever see, and he cares about everything that he does, and he takes a ton of pride in it. So he is going to turn over every stone. He's going to find out what everything is going on around the team and around the locker room and with the coaches and with management, scouting, development, Milwaukee. He's going to look up and down everything. So I don't think he's the guy that rushes to judgment. I think he's going to make sure he might have some flash judgments, but he's going to sit on them and wait. And this is a great opportunity where he's coming in integrated at this time of year where he can sit down and then reassess at the end of the season. He doesn't have to do anything right now. He can sit and take it all in, and then, when summer comes around, you can say, okay, this is the direction we're going to go, and then you can make a plan and execute it.
So do you and Mace have like a secret handshake with Barry because you guys played for him, so that like on the road trip, like he maybe tells you guys a little bit more than he tells everybody else because you guys are all part of the brotherhood?
I will say, having Barry Trotz as a coach, he makes it a point to be part of your life and dig in. And but to be honest with you, all he did on that road trip was bust my chops. He was all over me, grinding my gears about everything. And so just the same relationship we had when I played. He'd come in and bust my chops. So he's you know what? He's a great personality to have around. And so I think anyone who's been around him knows that, he likes to have fun and he enjoys life, but he's here to do work. And if you're on the same page and you want to go to work, then he wants you to be part of it.
The last one for you, Hal. Do you think that the way this team is playing after, the news of David and then what happened to the roster, what do you think that says about those decisions? Do you think that those decisions played a role in how this team is playing right now, or do you think it's something else?
Yeah, well, some of those moves were kind of sneaky. You look at, like, the Ekholm move, you're getting Tyson Barrie, and the power play hasn't been a strong point for the Preds. And so you're losing Ekholm, but you pick up Tyson Barrie on a one, he's got one more year in his contract, and he looks good. And he's a good voice in the locker room, and he's got leadership. He's got that pedigree. He likes to have fun. He works hard, and he can move the puck really well, especially on the power play. So, like, those moves, it looks like sellers, but it's almost now looking at it, you're going, okay, these little moves are for some pretty good players, and now we're not that far away from just restocking the shelves and going back to work, and that's the exciting part for me. So all these little looks, and don't forget with all the draft picks and everything that you have going into the draft, there could be some deals that you make and turn this thing around real quick. So I think. I was kind of bummed because I hate being sellers. No one wants to be, a guy like Ryan McDonough, he must have just been crushed by all the sellers. And now we're out of it. Like, that's the worst. But then he's got this new life, and the little tweaks that the Preds have made have turned out to be good things. And maybe it's not going to be a 3 or 4 year rebuild. It's going to be a 1 year turnaround, and boom, we're back in it.
Hal, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to the game Saturday. I think I think the Predators are going to win tonight. I think Chicago stinks. I think they're going to win tonight. And then I think the game Saturday, I think that's a game for these young guys. It's going to have serious juice to it. And I am excited about it. Hal, great stuff. And it is so much more fun when me and the organization are on the same page to do this interview. It's probably not as entertaining, but it is fun.
Well, Jared, I know I'm enjoying this time, and I'm gonna this is a moment in time where you're happy, and so I'm just gonna enjoy it. And I'm looking in the future, and I know you're gonna be upset down the road about something because that's what you do. But I'm just enjoying this. So let's just enjoy this moment together.
Sounds good. Hal Gill, as always. Hal, we'll talk next week.
Cheers.
Yep, Hal Gill joining us on the program. Let me say this. Best case scenario for John Hines, make the playoffs and then not play any playoff games. Like, just make the playoffs and end the movie right there. Because to Hal's point, if they make the playoffs, even though they'll be underdogs, oh, no, Nick. Go ahead.
You want me to read again?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get a good feel for what we've got going on here. Zana, Final Four, I'm toast.
Who texted it?
The infamous Joe Rexroad.
Oh, no. Everybody's talking about nobody cares about your bracket. Oh, no. I guess Arizona lost. There you go. Predators game days next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106 through the game.
Shot like a 2, and the 3 is good from Jordan Wright.
After an amazing end-of-season run, the Vanderbilt Commodores look to win the NIT.
Wright fires. Wow!
Join Jerry Stackhouse and his team for every moment on your home for Vanderbilt basketball. 93.3 Classic Hits.
Al Gill here from my friends at Dunkin'. Warm up and feel the love with Dunkin'. Treat yourself and a loved one to a brown butter toffee hot or iced latte, which is superb paired with the bacon avocado tomato sandwich. Be sure to try the all-new stuffed biscuit bites. It's a warm biscuit dough wrapped around a mixture of bacon, scrambled egg, and cheddar cheese. Visit us at our newly remodeled Dunkin' on Briley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and our other locations throughout Middle Tennessee. Price and participation may vary. Limited time offer. Terms apply.
Imagine yourself in a new Toyota, like Corolla Cross, the first ever Corolla SUV, or the best-selling Toyota Camry, now available with all-wheel drive. And you can get 3.99 APR financing on a new 23 Camry, now through April 4th. With approved credit through TFS, excludes TRD and hybrids. And every new Toyota comes with 2 years no-cost maintenance. Get complete details at buyatoyota.com. Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places.
It's Family Leisure's Factory Direct Sale.
Which factory? From where?
Family Leisure has truckloads of new model merchandise from all their factories arriving daily.
Really? Like what?
Well, spas for one. All the new model spas are here and on sale from Artesian, Catalina, and American Select Spas, as low as $29.99.
Okay.
Family Leisure is getting all their new patio furniture styles. Hanneman, Tropitone, and Woodard are on sale. And there are still a lot of floor models left to sell at ridiculous prices. The guaranteed largest selection and lowest prices in the Mid-South.
Now, that's interesting.
Family Leisure has factory direct pricing on pools. 24-foot pools starting as low as $29.99 installed. And solid wood slate pool tables are only $19.99 as well.
That means the grills, smokers, and grill islands are on sale too.
Of course. Family Leisure even has the huge Diamond Point Play system for only $24.99 installed.
Even the massage chairs, theater seating are on sale.
That's right. That's Family Leisure's factory direct sale going on now.
Both locations, Antioch and Franklin.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Teron Davenport here from Superbook Sports. Make 2023 the year you beat Vegas. Superbook Sports gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. No fancy computer algorithms, no guys across the pond setting lines for American sports. Just the best team of odds makers in the business behind the counter at the Superbook in Las Vegas. Plus, Superbook features some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com and start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
For one day only, Saturday, March 25th, get 5+ acres and a new cabin package on sale for only $69.9 during the Nashville Acreage Grand Opening Land Sale. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get the best of both worlds. Flat, usable, prime Nashville acreage with the biggest and most spectacular ridgeline views in the entire Nashville area. Priced below market prices. Come explore this recreational paradise and make your dreams of owning exceptional Nashville acreage a reality for less. With 5+ acres and a new cabin package for just $69.9. Best of all, these properties include first-class infrastructure like county water, electric, and county road frontage. All huge advantages in today's market. Appointment times are filling up fast. Call now to book your private tour. 615-437-6348. That's 615-437-6348. Cabin kit package for materials only. Delivered to site by third party. Taxes and delivery not included. Price is subject to change without notice or obligation. Call for complete details. An equal housing opportunity.
A show that lives and breathes sports.
Focus in, focus in, focus in.
From the SEC.
Credit to the Alabamas, the Georgias, and the Ohio States of the world.
To the Preds.
They've been in a lot of really tight games, but they're not winning enough of them.
To the Titans.
He's talking about what this franchise has built over the years.
Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace.
What is this? Check it out.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Duchesne. His shot stop and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. This is Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators Game Day presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. TJ Anderson is my realtor, and he can be your realtor too. Go online to tjandersonhomes.com and let them take great care of you. Not only is TJ taking care of 2 home purchases for me, but he's done even more for my friends. That's right. I have no hesitation in referring them to TJ. I love them. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, tjandersonhomes.com. The Blackhawks are 23-38-6, good for 52 points. They freaking suck. The Predators are 24-24-7, good for 75 points. And like I said, if the Predators win tonight, they have a 26% chance of making the playoffs. If they lose, they have a 14% chance of making the playoffs. They absolutely, positively have to win tonight, and then they need to win on Saturday, and then we're talking. So that is what we're going to be keeping our eyes on as far as the Predators are concerned. And I will just say one more very important thing about the standings and everything else. I want them to make the playoffs because now that they've sold, making the playoffs would be like the icing on the cake. But again, Winnipeg's ahead of them. They're back by 4 points. They got 3 games in hand. They got to win against this Garbini of a team tonight in Chicago. That's my final take, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Special thanks to our friends here at Jasper's. Great spot before the Preds games to watch tournament games all throughout the tournament and just always. Stillman and Company. Max has the pregame show next. We'll see you all tomorrow at 2.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
In St. Pete, Clearwater, Florida, the fun extends beyond the beach because here the arts are alive, the food is al fresco, and the nightlife is electric. So let's forget